broke through a crack in the clouds and lit up her face, resolute yet etched with fear. Chapter 1. The sudden change beneath the wall. The watchtower bonfire had just been rekindled. A few soldiers stood at the ready, gripping spears and torches, eyes fixed tensely on the darkness beyond the city walls. Alison vaulted over the low battlement, her boots striking the slick stone bricks like the imprint of a wolf's paw. A sharp jolt of pain shot up through her soul, enough to snap her fully awake. Guard Holdren Snowmane caught sight of her stumbling toward them and shouted, "Miss Alison, watch out," but he was too far to catch her in time. She bit her lips, scrambled upright, and turned just in time to catch a glimpse of what lay beyond the walls. The unseen howl of a wolf pierced the air. Dozens of them were just outside the abandoned gate, her eyes in the moonlight glittering like a bottomless pit of ice. These gaunt, ordinary wolves. Holdren muttered, eyes narrowed. The blade of his gold-toothed saber glinted with cold light. Ebb shoulder. "This isn't safe. I'm getting you to the priest's tower, but..." The night wind kicked up clouds of dust, swirling around them as the wolves' shadows stretched along across the cobbled ground. It faint with red, but Alison's gaze drifted to the blood-stained letter still tucked inside her cloak, and her heartbeat quickened. What exactly had happened the night her father died? Why had he chosen to leave her the prophecy? And those runes? Do you hear that? Her voice trembled as she pointed to the distance. It's like they're murmuring something. Holdren followed her gaze. Several of the wolves, larger than any normal kind, wore collars dyed deep red, their heads lowered in unnatural stillness. They crouched amid the frozen grass just outside the city gates, and when they growled, the sounds that escaped were almost human. Breathless spirits, whispers of the soul rent. Holdren's voice dropped as he tightened his grip on the hilt of his blade. Together, they slipped behind the stone doors of the nearby priest's tower. Time had bleached the ancient door's veil, and faded runes were carved deep into the stone surface. Inside, broken murals and weathered columns flickered with candlelight. The air reeked of incense and dried blood. Alison took a deep breath and gave Holdren a resolute nod. Inwardly, she reminded herself, no matter how terrifying this becomes, she cannot let her father's final clues to waste. Chapter 2. The Prioress's Warning. The tower interior was dimly lit. Prioress Valera sat quietly on a worn bench, her silver, white hair draped to her chest, her expression as cold and unreadable as ever. When the two breathless figures burst in, she looked up slowly, her voice softer than the wind outside. "I knew you would come." She rose and led them to the altar. Candle flames flickered, and falling ash settled on the cracked stone floor like drops of blood. Reaching beneath the altar, Valera retrieved a rolled parchment and unrolled it carefully. "This is the counterpart to the letter your father left you. Before his death, he summoned me to safeguard it. But he passed before he could speak more." Her fingers brushed over the runes, a flicker of sorrow in her eyes. "In his final moments, your father gave this prophecy of the soul rend. With his last breath, he said only one thing: the void draws near. The dead shall return." Then he was gone. Alison's fists clenched tight. "Prioress, why did you all keep this prophecy hidden? If my father knew the danger of the soul, rend, and the dead, why didn't he tell me?" Her voice trembled, laced with anger that left no room for excuses. Valera sighed. "The one who inscribed this prophecy was Tien's cold-blood, a blood-born priestess from your father's generation. She once attempted to purify the soul, rend using sacred incantations, but the dead turned on her. Your father saved her life. In return, Tianzang entrusted him with the remnants of the runes. Fearing might be misused, she paused, her voice grave. To preserve peace among the three clans, your father and our order agreed to seal the scroll away, but we never expected the prophecy would still leak out. And now..." She repeated her father's last words. "So long as the light of the heart endures, the void shall return to nothing." She looked up, her eyes fierce and steady. "I'll go. No matter how many lost souls try to stop me, I will seal this prophecy for good." Chapter 3. The sudden upheaval at her keep. As they stepped out of the priest's tower, Holdren draped a wolf, fur cloak over Alison's shoulders. From beyond the city walls, a chorus of wolf howls erupted, laced with piercing, human-like screams. The streets of Werher Keep were eerily deserted. A few civilian corpses lay sprawled across the blood-stained cobblestone, their throats and chests torn open. The blood hadn't even clotted yet, scattered into drifting red mist, as if the air itself was still feeding on it. Alison instinctively stepped back. Holdren grabbed her arm with one hand and drew his wolf-tooth blade with the other. "They came too fast. Dan's death curse has already taken root. Be careful. These aren't just savage wolves." Carefully, the two made their way past the bodies, weaving through the wreckage of abandoned carts and scattered iron gear near the ruined gates. The narrow alleys that once served as straight lanes were now reduced to crumbling walls and shattered roof tiles. At the far end, a crossroads led to an old bridge that pointed toward distant Peak Mountains. There, Dozens of wolf-shaped statues loomed under the blood-hued moonlight, looking ready to spring to life. Move, Holdren barked. The indigo roads waiting for us. They reached the broken sea gate. Its wooden panels had been smashed inward, and behind the crumbling stonework, black and red wolf ships flickered, like ghosts watching from every crevice. Holdren vaulted forward, strung his bow in a blink, and loosed an arrow into the shadows. The figure it struck exploded into smoke with a so twisted it sent chills down Alison's spine. She clutched the scroll tight and stuffed it safely into her cloak. Red Blood Academy, a spirit sanctuary. If the curse of the dead is already spreading, then the road ahead is probably lined with traps. We'll need to move under cover of night if we want to survive long enough to reach the next stop. Suddenly, warning bells rang out. The clang of iron gongs echoed through the city, and guards began rallying in haste. Holdren glanced back. They are locking down the gate. We've to scale the walls now and escape through the abandoned towers to the north. Without another word, he stood up, launching himself toward the wall edge under the pale moonlight. Alison followed close behind, though a growing dread pressed heavily in her chest. If the death curse could raise the dead, then what else was hidden in the runes her father left behind? Could there be a deep cursed spirit within them? They climbed over the wall and leapt down, landing hard among overgrown weeds and broken stone. The howling faded into the distance, but Alison could still hear the whispers of the dead echoing inside her. The void is home. The dead shall return. She pressed a hand over her heart, steadying her breath, and chased after Holdren's shadow, vening into the night as they made their way toward the northern tower of Rushing Winds. Chapter 4. Tower of Rushing Winds and the Midnight Pursuit. The Tower of Rushing Winds stood as the only surviving watchtower in the northern miles beyond her keep, a relic from the days when the wolfkin battled with the curses of the undead. Half collapsed, the tower's upper levels were little more than broken stone railings and a few shattered columns, nearly blending into the ruins under the shroud of night. Holdren pulled Alison through the grass. The tower's drawing wooden door still clung to a few strips of iron. Behind it, a rickety staircase led to what remained the second-story watch deck. They ascended cautiously, feet creaking over fractured planks. The ribbons of old spell runes glimmered faintly rayed under the flashlight's beam. Holdren raised a wolf, claw lantern made of fused bones, and called out loudly, "Where do the dead hide?" Answered with a howl of the wolf's fury. From above, a ghostly wolf howl echoed in reply, cold and distant. Without hesitation, Holdren bolted up the final steps, with Alison close behind. At the top, a massive spectral wolf spiraled through the air, its entire body covered in rotting bone and seared blood markings. Its mouth roared with the anguished cries of the dead, eyes blazing with hatred and madness. Holdren raised his bow, an arrow already notched. Alison held up a shard of heartache, casting a warm glow across the tower's peak. Under the combined radiance of moonlight and heartlight, the wolf spirit writhed in agony. Holdren shouted low, fluorescent moon splitter. A slash of great blue energy shot from his blade, tearing the undead beast apart. It howled and crumbled into ash, but with its last breath it whispered, "The void, the bloodstain, shall return to the rift." The words sent a chill down Alison's spine. From the tower summit, the wilderness stretched far and dark. Behind them, the walls of Orc Keep glimmered faintly with retreating firelight. In the distance, atop the peaks of the Wolf Peak Mountains, wolf-shaped statues shimmered faintly red beneath the snowy moonlight, as if someone had lit a blaze in the snow. Alison's eyes narrowed. Wolf Peak Mountains, that's where the Wolf Altar is. If Bloodjewel reaches it, the heart of the three tribes will be in danger again. Holdren's voice dropped a warning tone. "We've driven off one of the undead wolves, but the curse won't end here. Its roots lie at the altar itself. If we can find the mark of the sacred heart your father left behind, we might be able to nullify the death curse altogether. First, we head to Red Blood Academy for the Blood Sigil Stone, then push deeper into Mountain Temple, but the remnant of the dead may ambush us along the way." Alison nodded firmly. At nightfall, we returned to the outskirts of where her keep find clue left by a messenger of the Undervale. Then we split up. To retrieve the Bloodseal Stone, I'll search for the remnants of Zhang's cursed scrolls. One way or another, we can't let the death curse spread to the Wolf Altar. If we lose the altar's protection, the soul rift curse will tear through the tribes like a flood. The wind notes howled a blade through cloth. Under the brilliant moon, Alison and Holdren's shadows stretched across the empty wilds, dissolving into the night. The spirit wolf had vanished, but its whisper still echoed through the wind. To avoid the sense, the dead do not rest. Chapter 5. The wind whispers of Red Blood Academy. At break dawn, the crimson morning bathed the towers of Red Blood Academy in a bloody glow. Standing at the academy gates, Chimney leaned against the stone railing, watching as Alison and Holdren returned from the northern wilds. His expression was grave, and the sigil on his chest trembled slightly, emanating a faint blood-red aura. "Holdren, did you retrieve the Blood Sigil Stone?" Chimney asked calmly, though a thread of anxiety lingered beneath his voice. Holdren stepped forward, holding a silver wolf blade and a deep crimson gemstone. The very Blood Sigil Stone they had risked everything to find. His eyes were cold. "I have it. The protective wards of Red Blood Academy have been activated. The death curse is the best for now, but listen closely. Someone etched the curse runes into the wall outside the archives. The symbols read Luna and Wolfrost. It's clear someone is trying to secretly revive both the soul rift and the death cards. We may have a traitor inside." Chenzi gave a small nod. Outside, disciples and clerics guard archives around the clock. But for now, the Blood Sigil Stone must be joined with the Hurt Wheel Seal and placed into the sanctuary of Hollow Bone. Only then can the final segment of the rebirth spell be drawn forth. There's no time to argue over haters. We must complete the spell first. Alison stepped forward, pulling from her cloak the blood moon scroll fragment she found in the tower the night before. After clearing the sand from its surface, faint markings of blood revealed second, broken section of the forbidden incantation. She handed the scroll to Chenzi. "This is what Zhang wrote before her death. It's the key to finishing the rebirth spell. But if we get even one line wrong, death curse won't dissipate. Worse, It'll root the soul-rich curse deeper in the bloodline. Chen tapped the scroll gently with his sigil staff, placing both the scroll and the blood sigil stone into the cauldron of radiant flame. A pillar of blood, red light burst skyward, staining the entire ceiling of the sanctum of light in a hellish glow. From within that glow, the broken words on the scroll and the stone post and reshaped, revealing for ancient Left's blood moon in unison. It was as if Danzig's soul was guiding them through the scroll itself. But as Gliss appeared, a chilling scream filled the air, like the cries of 1,000 lost souls. Alison felt a searing pain in her chest, but gritted her teeth and forced herself to stay upright. If that's what it means, then we have no choice. We must have the wolf soul out there immediately. If the undead, the phrase blood moon in unison, soul rift and dead hearts will full emerge, and that dark will spread from the Wolf Mountains, devouring all three tribes. Then seized the cauldron, locking the scroll and stone when a rune came in box. He then pressed the sigil marked mirror of the undead against his chest, fixing a protected rune into place. Moving the ritual feat at full speed. Only by fusing the final part of the reverse spell with the heart wheel can we unlock the mirror of insight, which will show us true path forward. The undead are watching us, preying on every moment of doubt. Holdren drew his fang blade, his iron edge gleaming with cold light. I'll escort you both to the base of the mountain. The Wolfking sentries there have rigged a soul fang trap, enough to hold back the undead race for a while. But past that line, you'll be on your own. Only inner light and spellcraft can guide you through what's coming. Morning wind swept through Red Academy, flickering through torchlight and chilling stone. The three of them moved forward without hesitation, their footsteps firm and united, side by side the wall, carving a silent oath into their hearts. No matter how fiercely the undead return, the sacred hearts of the three tribes must remain in sync. Chapter 6. Wolf Soul Thunder Array. The cave summoning as dusk settled. The three of them stepped into the Wolf Soul Thunder Array at the base of the mountain. Thunder, spike-shaped like wolf fangs, pierced deep into the soul. At the core of the array, sharp halls echoed through the air. Black, blue arcs of lightning exploded outward, shattering any passing phantom of the undead in an instant. Holdren raised his blade and moved ahead. Alison, Chenzi, stay close. The undead are cunning. Don't fall for their tricks. Once we cross this array, we'll be near the heart of the Wolf Mountain's abyss. Alison drew a deep breath as the light of her heart wheel sealed briefly interwove with crackling thunder. With a quick turn of her wrist, the seal burst into a silver, white barrier, shielding them from the lightning bursts and flying debris. She saw several undead apparitions crushed to ash by a fallen thunderstone, then vanish into the snow like vapor. The array was powerful, not foolproof. If she did move quickly and the phantoms swarmed her, there would be no chance of survival. Nancy stepped lightly over the burning runes of crimson seals, bloodlight flaring beneath his feet like living flame. He tapped the rune of the mirror of the undead on his chest, making it harder for the undead to hide in the shadows. He noticed several runes in the array were rooted, tainted by that curse, on the verge of failure. If we don't pack these glyphs fast, he said, raising his staff, the curse will break through. Once we reach Outer Mountain Gate, I'll draw the bloodlight recast array to seal the corruption. Holen led from the front, blade flashing, carving through the undead phantoms while staying alert. This array's been here for over a century. It's etched into Wolfman's blood memory. Even when the dead are repelled, they always come back, searching weak spots. He crushed a worn, blue wolf runestone beneath his boot and replaced it with a red blood sigil shard from the academy. Instantly, the small center of the array surged with power, and lightning flared skyward, forcing the undead to retreat. The three advanced with full concentration. As they neared the mountain gate, it emerged from the darkness. Twin wolf had stone hills standing tall, wrapped in withered vines and blooming blood-red flowers. On the lintel above, ancient wolf clan crypt was carved. By moonlight we shield, by blood we seal. Undead shall not pass. The soul rift shall not rise again. Alison took a steady breath and stepped forward, holding her wolf crest cloak higher over her chest. Her heart beat thunder like chains pulled taut. These words are the oath forged by our ancestors, wolves and Blicknalak. They forged the sacred heart with moonlight and blood to seal away the power of the undead. If I can't follow that path tonight, the curse will slip through every crack. Behind her, Holdren stood ready, lifting the sigil case entrusted to them by the academy. Chen stood beside them, both hands holding a blood moon scroll and blood sigil stone, the incantation already forming on his lips. Are you ready? Holdren asked quietly. Alan nodded firmly. Water leads us for death. We must seal the undead and soul rich for good. Chen began to chant. Light of the blood moon, in chorus with wolf soul, let the blood sigil lock the curse. Never can shall the undead return. Together, they placed blood moon scroll into the wolf. Eye slot at the center of the dome gate, pressing the blood sigil stone atop it. Beneath them, heart wheel seal and wolf soul warding sigil activated in unison. The gate lit up in haunting hues of red, blue, and gray, and with a thunderous groan, it opened, revealing a winding passageway that spiraled up toward the mountain's peak. A fierce wind streamed through the gap like the halls of countless spirits. Along the narrow path, grim wolf-like shadows appeared and vanished, as if guiding or watching. Alison clutched the prophecy letter tighter and stepped cautiously forward. This path is the final stretch to the wolf soul altar. My father's prophecy, Qianlang's last wish, they will either be fulfilled or destroyed up there. They entered the corridor, steep and narrow, with a sheer drop into a bottomless abyss on either side. Ancient carvings of blood moons and wolf kings lined the walls. Their inscriptions fade by time, whispering silent stories of the past. A grand battle of blood and wolves once raged here, sealing away the undead in the rift. But now, with the gate open, even those ancient seals felt dangerously unstable. The cold wind cut deeper than before. At the corridor's far end, swirls of silver, blue, light and blood, red shadows and twisted in silence. Holdren raised his fang blade, his voice like a growl. Undead, where are you hiding? Come out. Face the judgment of a wolf's blade in the heart's light. Alison and Pansy followed behind, step by step, up toward the summit. But unease toiled in their hearts, though they had reached the altar. The true battle was only beginning. Beyond the gate, the fractures of a once healing peace were starting to rip open once more. Chapter 7. The Secret and Sinister at Wolf Soul Altar. The Wolf Soul Altar rose high atop a mountain peak. A blooded red moon hung low in the sky, while fierce winds carried dank and ash in all directions. Around the altar stood 7 stone pillars, each crowned with a snarling wolf head, devouring serpentine shadows tangled with blood. At the center lay a sacrificial platform of wolf bone, inlaid with grey blooms. Hovering above it was a shattered, blood-colored crystal, a shard of the soul rift heart, said to contain the power of the undead and capable of breaching the wolf soul-warding seal. The 3 stood at the altar's base, blades and moonlight flickering across the ancient stone. Spectral undead surged below, writhing as though ready to scale the stone railings. Holdren called down sharply. The unknowns are gathering. They're pulling on the seal array. We have to combine the heart wheel, reverse spell, and the blood shield. If we don't extinguish the undead flame now, this altar will turn into the next gate to hell. Alison gazed up at the wolf bone altar. Casting the light of her heart wheel across it, the broken blood crystal won't heal unless it absorbs the residual echo of a rebirth spell. The wolf soul shield must be summoned from all directions at once. It's the only way to activate it. She began to chant softly, invoking both the birth incantation and the wolf soul hymn. Silver light joined with the deep wolf blue glow, transforming into a rain of radiant sparks that drifted down upon the stone pillars. The carved wolf heads atop each pillar suddenly opened their mouths, releasing a surge of ghostly gray. Blue light blasted the undead phantom's back. Chindi Ray, the blood sigil, stood above his head. Crimson light burst forth, entangling with a rain of silver and blue. As he chanted in a voice like a sigh, the bloodlight surged like a tidal wave, sealing the cracks beneath pillars. The undead wailed in pain. Holdren could both blaze steady, then unleashed frost rapid slash. A chilling wave of gray, blue energy cut through the remaining phantoms, shredding them into nothingness. At the center of the altar, the broken blood crystal began to spin slowly through the woven light. The fracture closed, sinking to a single complete red heart. In that instant, a violent storm erupted. The blood moon poured its eerie light downward as the altar's surrounding runes shattered in dust, swept into the storm winds. From the crystal core, a beam of searing light shot upward into the sky. Alison's heart trembled. She hadn't expected such overwhelming power from the altar. Within the beam, a twisted figure began to take shape. Tianzang's soul, her face was pale, not rage, but with deep, enduring sorrow. Floating above the altar, she held the now whole soul rift heart in her hands and whispered, "By the unity of souls, by the rebirth of the blood moon, Tianzang's will may now rest." Then she raised the crystal above her head and gently lowered it in the heart of the converging light. Where blood and silver blue merged, the light dissipated in an instant. The blood crystal crumbled into ash and scattered on the wind. The storm ceased. Silence fell. The altar and stone pillars shone faintly under the blood moon, washed in pale grey light. Tianzang's soul vanished too, dissolving into countless glimmering motes, falling around them like stardust. Holdren lowered his blades, breathing hard. The tad crystal resonated with the wolf soul, and Tianzang eased in her final moment. But why did she hide it so deep within the altar? Was it redemption for the undead, or prayer to the blood moon itself? Alison looked pale, but kept her eyes on the altar. Maybe her wish was only to lay the dead to rest. Maybe she wanted the 3 clans to find a new balance. New trust, within the chaos of the soul rift, and the undead. Her will wasn't just attachment, it was hope. And if we failed the altar's trial today, we'd never stop the undead resurgence at its root. Chindi gently lowered the blood sigil stone and sighed. The soul rift heart is ash. Its power is gone, but the source of the undead curse still lingers in Voidfield. If we don't continue to guard against it, this altar will be nothing more than a temporary barrier, doomed to fall. We must embed the heart will shield in the granite altar at the sanctum of spirits, and let it resonate with the sacred hearts of all 3 clans. Only then can we erase the last traces of the undead curse for good. Chapter 8. Hunter Eye. The forgotten clue. Just as the 3 descended from the wolf soul altar and began their journey home, a thin mist spread through the valley. Amid the haze, a golden figure appeared, hidden behind a shadowed rock, clutching a worn parchment map. The map marked 3 giant stone formations: the wolf soul altar, the Scarlet Moon Blood Hall, and further still, the rift abyss. Reflected in his eyes were the determined faces of Alison, Holdren, and Kenzie as they moved. He slowly raised his longbow and fired an arrow into the sky. The arrow's tip sliced through the dawn light, landing at Alison's feet. Holdren reacted instantly, dodging and drawing his blade to block any follow-up. But before the wind's whistle faded, the golden figure vanished like driven sand along a distant cliff. The 3 released their held breaths and picked up the arrow. Etched along the blade was a line of tiny roots. Eye of the void, never extinguished. Eye of the void. Alison's heart chilled. This means someone is using the aftershocks of the void rift to watch us. He didn't just send an arrow. He's spying on the altar's account. Every step we take is under his gaze. Kenzie clutched the parchment map, frowning deeply. This arrow and those runes, they're not the undead's doing. They're a hunter's signal. He's trying to lead us to the rift abyss. Maybe the core truth behind the undead curse is still hidden there. We have to follow his trail, or we'll be led straight into the abyss of death. Holdren tossed the arrow to the ground. Since someone's watching us, the eye of the void is no longer hidden. We must change course and head to the rift abyss. That's the gateway to the deepest parts of the void codex, and the final battleground of Tianzang and Tiny. If we don't uncover the truth there, the roots of the undead and soul rift curses will never be severed. The 3 clans will remain trapped in darkness forever. Alison's eyes hardened as she stepped forward. My father's runes and Tianzang's soul, the eye of the void, all point to one place. We've already walked halfway down the path of death. Only the final stretch remains. If there's no turn back, then I'll offer my heart's light and faith to lead on for the 3 clans. Chapter 9. Rift Abyss. On the edge of despair and hope, if the rift abyss lay hidden at the northernmost edge of the Wolf Peak Mountains. The terrain was steep, with cliff faces weathered into countless cracks that looked like giant open jaws, ready to swallow anyone whole. Kenzie pointed at the worn parchment map. This black stone hollow is where the Wolf Clan ancestors built the soul-severing stakes with their blood and bones. If you call into the abyss, the gate to the undead opens. If those souls aren't put to rest properly, they'll become an eternal tide of spirits that will drown the world. Night was falling, and the howling felt like it could devour all living things. Alice and Lucas gently leaned on each other as they crossed broken stones and chasms. Their steps were heavy but never faltered. In the wind, the echo of the undead curse surged like a tidal wave, threatening to break their spirits. Holdren raised his bow on his shoulder, slamming his wolf-toothed dagger like a claw against the rock face to carve out a narrow path. With every step, ghostly spirits tried to drag them back into hell. A heart, like damp. Alison gritted her teeth, pressing the heart-wheel seal against her chest. A silver glow shielded them, pushing back the undead's assault. Lucas roared, the wolf soul curse surging within him, his grey, blue blades slicing through wind and ghostly shadows. Shinzi chanted the blood-like curse, unleashing red flames that turned remaining runes on cliff walls to ash. Together, the three finally reached the edge of the rift abyss. Below, a bottomless void of black emptiness yawned endlessly. Ancient vows of blood and wolves were carved into the cliffs. Soul rift and undead cannot coexist. The tide void, only sacredly can turn it back. The vow echoed like a warning in Alison's ears. She looked down at the second volume of the rebirth scroll, the heart-wheel seal, the blood-patterned stone, and the wolf soul shield in her hands. A calm unlike any before rose within her. This was both the end and the beginning. We must unite this forward to reverse the river where undead and soul return together. Otherwise, the tide of void will consume everything. Alison's voice trembled but held unshakable resolve. Shinzi and Lucas nodded. You lead, Alison. Our magic will pave the path of light for you and protect you. One by one, they cast the scarlet moon scroll, heart-wheel seal, blood-patterned stone, and wolf soul seal into the abyss. Their bodies and heart lights spun in harmony, bursting into a blaze of radiant light that dissolved the abyss into mist. The undead's roars echoed fiercely, as if fighting the light for their right to exist. At the climax of the struggle, a dazzling pair of golden wings emerged from the mist. The embodiment of the three clans, sacred hearts, blood-red and silver-blue intertwined, absorbing and fusing the abyss. In an instant, the deepest darkness was swallowed by the blood moon's radiance. The rift shattered, and the mountains and rivers returned to silence. The three sank onto the cliff's edge, blood moonlight breaking through clouds like flowing water, reflecting their tired but satisfied smiles. The undead cried out, their illusion shattered. Everything finally faded into nothingness. Chapter 10. Afterglow of dawn, and foreshadowing of the second chapter, as the first rays of dawn shattered over the northern wasteland, the three she stumbled back to the ruins of the wolf soul altar. They gazed at the lingering embers of the blood moon, as she swarmed from the sacred hearts of the three clans. The protective rune of Harburg, Crimson Blood Academy, and the spirit sanctuary flickered with light, sending a message of victory back to them. Luke dropped his wolf-patterned cloak, eyes fixed on the void below the cliff. Quietly, he said to Alison, the roots of undead and soul rift are destroyed, but the soul severed stakes beneath the mountain are an endure spell. If someone quietly pieces together the tone scrolls late at night, the soul rift disaster could be awakened again. She seized the remaining pages of the reverse scroll, her fingertips still marked with golden bloodstains. We've hoarded up all our magic, but this isn't the end. The fragments of the void codex that Tian Kang and Tian Yi tried to seal may still be stirring somewhere. If they regroup, the power of the undead and soul rift will be even more terrifying than tonight. Alison clenched her fist, her gaze sharp and icy. It seems our victory is only temporary. The second chapter begins in the afterglow of the sun. Our next destination is the Dragonbone Ruins, the original source of the undead and soul rift, and the resting place of the core of the void. Only there can we completely shatter the roots of darkness and leave the three clans a path that never falls into despair. The wind swept through the valley, cold yet refreshing. The three exchanged tired but determined smiles. They knew the real trial had only just begun. Though the undead and soul rift were temporarily silenced, the tide of the void still flowed in the shadows. What awaited them was a longer, deeper, and more complex battle of heart and faith. As they turned to leave, a gust stirred a swirl of snow and dust at the cliff's edge, revealing a decayed wolf bone inscribed with an incomplete rune. Core of the void, shattered and unclean. If the wolf soul returns, darkness will reclaim. The broken rune drifted like a ghost on the mountain breeze, falling into the abyss. It carried a chilling warning. The shadow of the second chapter had already taken root. The sacred hearts of the three clans could only temporarily contain the darkness, not banish it entirely. After the long night, no clear path remains. Only the light of the heart and the faith of blood can illuminate that endless rift of the void. Chapter I echoes the Dragonbone altar beneath a sky of ash grey twilight. The Dragonbone altar lay half buried in snow and silence. Alison traced the faded lines of a weathered map, her fingers brushing across ancient runes carved into the shattered skeletal remains. This was once the battlefield where the old wolf king clashed with the soul maiden of the dead. She murmured, if the legends hold, the original fragments of the codex of the void may be hidden here. Lucas tightened his grip on his fang blade, eyes sharp and glinting like ice. Beneath the cliffs lie remnants of the dead and curses alike. Their hate still lingers. Beside them, Dawnshade, the bloodborne sage, raised the crimson moon talisman, and a stone of blood vigils into the column of light. His voice was a whisper of ancient syllables. Power to pierce the veil, reveal the seal of our threefold hearts. Red and silver, blue light intertwined, pulsing like a vein of molten magic. The altar trembled. Shards of bone and broken sigils quivered in their ancient bed. When the final glimmer of light faded, a half-burnt piece of parchment surfaced from the bones. Etched in flickering blood runes was a dire warning. So long as the wolf soul endures, the dead shall rise anew. Shall pass through them. The clash between Tiny and King Heng had not ended with bloodshed. It was merely the surface of a deeper family secret. A special wind rose from beneath the altar. House of the lost dead, scattered like ash on storm. Alison hugged the scorched scroll into her coat, whispering, the truth we seek lies buried in bone and blood. Ah, shattered. The shadow of the umbral envoy midnight approached, and wind howled across the desolate plains. A crumbling outpost flickered with dim torchlight. In the snow near its gates, Holder stumbled upon a corpse clad in wolfskin, a sigil scorched onto his chest, the eye of the void. A black-bladed longbow lay beside it, its edge still slick with blood. Alison knelt and brushed the dry gore from the cloak, revealing an unfamiliar crest carved into the hilt of a knife. This is the mark of an emerald boy, she said grimly. Whoever they are, they've been using the eye of the void to watch us from the shadows. As darkness deepened, a voice stripped a wind, low, broken, almost a chant. The void endures. The soul end returns. The word fade like a dead man's last breath behind the outpost. Holders stiffened. Something moves in the dark. Someone is tracking us, manipulating the remnants of the dead to draw us deeper into the trap. Lucas frowned. If the void is luring us into the chasm below, we may not return. We must track him now, find where he hides before it's too late. Alison swallowed her unease. What lies beneath all this? Who is he, and did my father, or the young king, ever face him before? Chapter 2. Blood schemes beneath the Crimson Academy the following evening. The Crimson Council chamber blazed with lamplight. Don't stood at a circle of bloodborne elders. Their whispers thick with knees. The dead have been banished, the Crimson talismans sealed, he said. But if someone within the Academy is recreating fragments of the Codex of the Void, we may never know it until it's too late. Elder Blood Priest Actus furrowed his brow. There are whispers of those who wish to wield the dead's power to revive the ancient bloodborne right, to see the bloodborne rule the northern oasis once more. If we don't root out these traitors, the fragile peace among the threefold tribes will shatter. Alison exchanged a glance with Donshade. Moonlight filtered through the frost-laced windows, catching in their weary eyes. Suddenly, a young acolyte burst through the doors, breathless and pale. The archives, he gasped. Someone broke in during the night. The Crimson Moon talisman fragments, they're gone. And then the wolf-marked iron seals bound the enchantments. Be destroyed. Donshade's crimson pupils flared. This means we have a traitor among us. This curse and forbidden soul red. They were never fully extinguished. And now, someone has begun to awaken them. Alison's fist clenched. Seal the archives. No one leaves until we find who did this. If we fail, the alliance will fall, and no one will survive the storm to come. Chapter IV. Hot Mirror Trial. Illusions shared that same night. Within the city of spirits, the four stood in quiet reverence inside the chamber of insight. Before each of them lay a polished ebony mirror. The hard mirror, its surface pulsing with a soft silver glow. One by one, Alison, Lucas, Donshade, and Holder knelt before its gleaming depth. The mirror light flickered, and from its surface, their inner truths began to unfold as living phantoms. In Alison's reflection, a child stared back, small, afraid, and abandoned. Her father's silhouette turned dust, crumbling into the chasm below. A voice echoed from the abyss. Can you carry the curse of your bloodline? Grief cut deep, but she stood tall, defiant. I will bear the loneliness and fear this prophecy brings, but I will fight for the truth. In Lucas' vision, he faced the towering image of his father, ice hard as frost. If you ally with humans, you betray your own kind, the old wolf world. Lucas held his blade tight, jaw clenched. If sealing the truth only delays disaster, I will break our laws. I choose peace. The spectral fox sneered. Swear against your blood, and the wolf's soul shall never rest. A shadowed blade burst from the darkness, hurtling toward Lucas's heart. The fire blazed in his crimson gaze. Then, I'll wield a wolf's soul to protect all three clans. The illusion shattered. Donshade's reflection opened in fire. The sacred temple of the bloodbone burned around him. Through ashen screams, he chanted a forbidden blood spell, healing the wounded. The elder's voices rang out. To use the soul curse is to damn us all. Tears streaked his face. If we do not guide us through despair, how can the bloodborne ever find redemption? The mirror showed him cradling the soul of a lifeless child, whispering, our salvation is born of blood and grief. Without it, the dead will never rest. Then flame consumed his form, leaving behind only a crimson smear. At last, all four opened their eyes. The heart mirror dissolved into a single thread of golden light before fading to nothing. They rose, solemn and silent. Without the heart mirror, the meaning of this trial would have remained buried. Alison raised her hand, palm open to the others. We've seen each other's deepest fears, and the strength that endures beyond them. Only with that shared light of the heart can we resist the darkness of the soul and the curse of the dead. Lucas and Donshade nodded, firm purpose. Holder stepped forward, voice steady from this moment. Whenever the path darkens, we carry the trails on as our shield. Dawn. Chapter of Hair of the Crimson Blood Shrine at dawn. The entrance to the Crimson Blood Shrine lay silent, shrouded in the last flickers of candlelight and the whispering chill of the wind. Only echoes remained. Alison, Lucas, and Nancy stepped through the stone gate, its surface still stained with ancient blood. Within the shrine, faint murals glittered on the weather-worn walls. Pictures of Tian King in ages past, healing the people with divine blood. Her eyes were filled with compassion, her hands channeling sacred essence into the villagers. Yet the final image was marred by tragedy. A shadow priest ambushed her, and she vanished in the darkness. On the dust-covered altar, several charred pieces of talisman paper lay scattered. Alison rose onto her toes and delicately picked one up. She read aloud, by the will of the crimson moon, sworn in tears of blood, let my soul return to the light. At that very moment, a soft cough echoed from the shadows. A man emerged slowly from the dark, clad in a black robe, his face concealed behind a mask. Yet beneath that mask, a pair of clear golden eyes met theirs. You've come just as I knew you would, he said calmly. I am the blood hair of the crimson moon, the sole surviving descendant of Tian King's blood. I am here for only one reason, to stop you from invoking that cursed incantation. Lucas stepped forward, eyes narrowing. If you are her bloodline's hair, why didn't you seek help from crimson blood at me? The hair gave a bitter smile. Who would wish for a cursed seed like me to survive? To them, I've always been the origin of the soul-bound curse. Even when I tried to use the blood, inscribed stone to save lives, they sent guardians to stage everything. No, today, I'm here only to reveal this. Another fragment of the Codex of the Void has been hidden deep within the shrine's catacombs. Chance's heart trembled at the words. Catacombs, the foundation of this soul-bound curse spans from the Dragonbone altar all the way to the blood shrine below. Crimson hair, will you guide us? If the Codex of the Void is ever made whole again, the three races will be cast into a despair deeper than anything we've ever faced. The hair gave a solemn nod and turned to lead the way, yet his gaze remained unfocused, like fish swimming within an endless sea of blood. Disoriented, his movements, his words, none of them were quite right. It was as if something greater, something darker lay hidden within him. Alison's own knees grew like a shadow in her chest. Still, She held the parchment scroll tightly in her hand, knowing full well with no turning back. Chapter VI. Shadows beneath and the lost her scroll. The catacombs beneath the crimson blood shrine were sealed tight. The blood hair whispered a chant, and with a low groan the hidden door creaked open. A rush of cold air met them as they descended. The stone walls slick with moisture, draped in with their divine and blood-stained talon papers. The air reeked of rot and the airy remnants of speculations. Step by cautious step, the four of them advanced. In Holder's hand, the wolf-claw lantern trembled, casting flickering light across the chamber. In slow, fragment sheepskin scrolls came into view. Shredded, worn, and trembling with ancient energy, they were unmistakably the torn leaves of the Codex of the Void. Its warped runes seemed to weep and whisper like the voices of lost souls. Chinzi lifted one of the scrolls, fusing the arcane symbols with the blood. Inscribed stone in his hand, this fragment was code, written by Tiny and Tianking. He said bravely, only by placing it within a mirror array of the dead, burning it with a rebirth incantation can we sever through awe. He chanted lowly, and red sigils flared to life around the scroll. The blood hair's face darkened. If you burn it here and now, he warned, this shrine will be reduced to ash. Tianking's spirit will never rest. Alison's brows furrowed, and if the dead are not freed from their hatred, they will remain trapped in this place forever. Bloodhair, have you really brought us here? Was it only to witness the rebirth of a forbidden curse? Or do you hide something deeper still? From behind his mask, the Bloodhair let out a long sigh. I was born bearing the bloodline of King. If these souls do not disperse, I will remain man only in form, not in spirit, and if the curse is destroyed, King's soul may never find peace. Yet still, I cannot allow the three races to perish together. There is one more clue hidden in this place. A page of the Codex of the Void was carved beneath the altar into what we call Covenant Stone. Only the mirror of the heart wheel can reveal the full incantation engraved there. He pointed toward the far end of the catacombs, where a block of stone like a fallen meteor loomed in the dark. Beyond that lies the true trial. Jinxie let out a heavy breath. If Nia King herself chose this place in life, then we must honor her wishes in death. Let her grievances be resolved. Let her spirit be still. We can only hope that by not breaking the final seal, we won't stir the dead even further. But the others nodded solemnly. Together, they stepped forward to the altar before the black stone, waiting for the heart mirror's revelation to begin. Chapter V. Reflections in the heart mirror and tremor at the soul's edge. The heart mirror was placed before the altar of black stone. Its surface tranquil, like water untouched by wind. Alison held the sigil of the heart wheel, knelt upon both knees and murmured, by the light of my heart, reveal the truth of the wandering dead. A silver, white glow pulsed from her chest and cast itself upon the mirror's surface. Waves rippled outward, then settled, unveiling a vision from the past. Tianyi and Tiankang stood at this very altar, their bloody hands clasped, swearing to protect the fate of their kind with their very lives. But the vision twisted. Chinese was engulfed by darkness. Tiankang, in desperation, shielded a child with her own body, struggling to flee. The tendrils of the dead lashed on her spirit. Tears streamed down Alison's face. Why would they betray each other? Why sacrifice the innocent? The mirror spoke on. Where there is a split soul, there will be wandering dead. If the blood moon remains unwhole, the voice shall rise. Only by the resonance of three hearts can lingering will be severed. Suddenly, the mirror erupted into an intertwining totem of blood, red and wolf blue, enveloping the four in its radiant glyphs. A blade of ice seemed carved into Lucas's chest. Within the vision, he stood before his father, who shouted, if you can go with the outsiders, you are no son of the wolf clan. Lucas fought against the weight of ancestral judgment. If we never defy the laws that bind us, how can we save those beyond them? The illusion shattered. He gasped awake. His fingers clenched tightly around the wolf-fang pendant. His loyalty was not just to his kin, but to the conviction that burned within him. Chinzi's eyes turned red with emotion. I saw the elders of my bloodline distill my disciples' life into soul potions. Why? Why must the blood cleanse to do this? In the mirror, he knelt amidst flame, cradling the soul of a child, his voice a whisper through tears. If this curse must fall upon me, so be it. Not one soul's peace be bought by my pain. The glow faded. Chinzi trembled. I hold no grudge. But if the dead cannot find peace, then let the blood clan bear its fate without excuse. Holder muttered an ancestral wolf incantation. The wolf soul bows on. Blood marked eternal. The mirror showed him memory, losing his dearest companion, only to be bounded to protect those he did not trust. He plunged a wolf-fang dagger into his chest, his blood slattering sacred papers, as he swore, if I cannot protect, then let my soul be the offering. The vision withdrew. Holder stood grim-faced, his resolve forged anew. When the four rose from the mirror's embrace, their faces were pale. Their eyes carried the weight of unwavering purpose. Alison placed a hand over her heart. We all face the deepest tremors of our souls. Our pain, our truths. If we wish to break the curse at its root, we must combine the sacred hearts of all three clans. Let the dead bear witness to our resolve. Lucas and Chinzi spoke at one knee, three clans, one heart. Illusion cannot haunt what is whole. Thus, they placed the scroll of crimson moon, the sigil of the heart wheel, the blood, inscribed stone, and the mark of the wolf, soul upon the altar. 1,000 rays of light burst forth, consuming the final traces of wandering souls lingering in the air. Chapter V. Elegy of the Abyssal Rift. The final ashes of the heart mirror had yet to cool when the four companions ascended from the catacombs, racing toward the Abyssal Rift. Snow flurried in the gale, the wind slicing to the marrow. Lucas led the way, where the land fell into a maw, fissures stretching like bottomless veins into earth, devouring all light. Our destination is the Abyssal Eldar, he shouted above the storm. According to the clues left by my father and Tiankin, this is where the Codex of the Void was truly sealed. They tread carefully along the mountain's narrow spine. Eroded sigils marked the cliff walls. Ancient totems go, inscribed by wolf shamans and bloodline priests. Chinzi furrowed the mirror area of the dead, pressing sacred scrolls against the cliffside. This array can guide the thoughts of lingering souls. With it, we may glimpse the crevice where the void ventures deepest. The wind roared on both sides, like 10,000 cultured voices whispering, the void, the soul shall split. At last, they stood atop the edge of the Abyssal Rift. Beneath their feet stretched endless blackness, like a giant people staring in the sky. Snow whirled into ghostly patterns, the wind howled with a shriek of broken bone. Alison's eye quivered, but she clutched the sigil of the heart wheel tightly. This is it. the final step. Once we seek the full river incantation, the heavens will tremble. The tide of the void will find no sanctuary. Lucas and Tessie exchange a solemn glance. They read the sacred artifacts. Placing crimson moon scroll atop the altar stone. As one, they swore. By the hearts of the three clans, we severed the root of Soul Rift. Let the void dissolve into nothingness. Their voices rose in unison, chanting the third and final volume of the rebirth incantation. The words blazed like fire and blood, ascending into the heavens. The wind cracked apart. From the rift below, golden fire erupted like a tide of molten stars, vanishing the void in a surge of divine light. The abyss screamed, the phantom dead scattering like ash. Crimson and gold surged into the womb of the world, sealing the fracture. Where once was maw, now stood a quiet, sacred altar, pulsing nether. The wind fell silent. Snow stopped midair. All was still. The four collapsed at the cliff's edge, knees weakened by power and purpose, but their breath, though heavy, filled with resolute peace. Chapter IX. The resonance of the sacred heart sigil. Dawnlight built across the barren plains. Alison retrieved her father's scroll and began to fuse the soul rift prophecy with the threefold sacred heart sigils. The sacred sigil took the form of a silver, grey ring, edged with the emblems of all three clans. Her father's voice echoed in her memory. The sigil must be consecrated in the sanctuaries of all three tribes. Only then will it resonate with the heart wheel and banish the soul rift forever. With solemn care, Alison placed the sixth sigil atop the sigil of the heart wheel. In an instant, silver, grey light erupted, merging the energies of the three sacred hearts, forming a sanctified arc that reached toward the heavens. Lucas drove the wolf, engraved laid into the center of the sigil, binding the wolf soul to its resonance. May the soul of the wolf stand as a shield, guarding the future of all three clans. Gently stepped forward and embedded blood, inscribed stone, murmuring a quiet vow. Let the bloodline be the thread that completes the sacred heart. Three pillars of light surged skyward, merging into a single ray that pierced the blue sky. Alison clutched her father's letter to her chest and proclaimed aloud, "By my father's charge and wishes of Tian and Tian Gang, I bind the sacred heart ward, that the wandering soul and the soul rift may forever return to the void." Golden radiance spread like sunrise itself, washing clean the altar and the valley in holy brilliance. The four exchanged glances, their eyes shimmering with both tears and triumph. Lucas whispered, "After today, the forbidden curses of the wandering souls and the soul rift shall become nothing but history. Without the light of our hearts, how could we ever reach this blood moon dawn?" Tessie knelt and bowed. The final wish of Tiani and Tian King has become sacred to him, one that now illuminates the undim dark. Alison returned the sacred sigil to rest. May the three clans remember us always. Let the sacred heart be our eternal guardian. If any dare to awaken a forbidden curse again, let this sigil be their final chapter. Chapter X. The unfinished undercurrent and the seeds of Chapter 3. First ray of morning had just begun melting king snow from the mountain peaks when the communication rays of War Fortress, Crimson Blood Academy, and the Septum of Spirits all began to resonate in unison. Echoes of the sacred heart's power had reached their respective altars, declaring that both the soul of curse and curse of the wandering dead had been vanquished. Yet as the silver brilliance faded, and the ashes of night were swallowed by the wind, something stirred. From the depths of the soul rift abyss, a blood-stained sigil stone shot into the air. It glowed with pale, ghostly gold, whispering the moonlight as directly to the fore. The core of the void remains. The fisher still trembles beneath their hearts. Holder crouched and picked up the sigil. The moment it touched his palm, a piercing shoulder shot through him. He looked up at Alison. These dark goldstone in a trap, or warning. Alison ran her fingers along the unfamiliar runes. The void hidden trench. I fear some darkness still sleeps below. The tiny Tian Gang's rift is sealed for now. If anyone continues to reassemble the codex of the void, no sacred heart, no matter how strong, can silence the chant of the dead forever. Lucas gripped his wolf fang leg tighter. Well, we may have emerged from the soul rift abyss, but we have not yet escaped the dark. The wolf chief sent word last night. There are whispers that one of our elders conspires with the priest of the dead. Their goal, to resurrect the ice-flame death beast, hoping to revive the ancient might of the pale wolf clan. Once awakened, the beast will wield both glacial frost and blazing fire. Pure annihilation. The second chapter has closed, but the real storm is just beginning. Chengxi carefully returned Torn Crimson Moon's scroll and the sigil of the heart to its case. His voice was low, firm. The sacred heart may not exist, but if anyone dares shake the roots of the three clans, they must first shatter this heart. We must head to the Grand Council Hall of the Holy City to stop the traitor elder's scheme, and at the same time, score both the Wolf Peak Mountains and the Oasis for signs of the Eye Flame Death Beast. If we don't, Chapter 3 will be a far bloodier war than any we faced. Alison clenched her fist. If we are to protect the bond of the three clans, we must carry each other's trust and forge the sacred heart into a torch bright enough to pierce the blackest abyss. Though Chapter 2 has ended, a greater challenge awaits. We cannot wait in silence. Action must never falter. The wind turned cold. The prayer tower ashes still smoldered atop the mountain, whispering like ghosts. No matter how strong your sacred heart may be, darkness always takes root in silence. Chapter 3 begins with the power struggles of the Holy City and the resurrection of the Ice Flame Death Beast. New conspiracies and deeper rifts await those who still dare to believe. Chapter Eve. The undercurrent returns. Section Iku. Shadows of power in the Holy City. Dawn's first light had yet to grace the Holy City, but Imperial Street Square was already ablaze with torchlight. Hundreds of banners bearing the crests of various clans snapped in the wind. Along both sides of the broad thoroughfare, envoys and council stewards from across the realm had gathered. Alison Hart, newly returned from the Crimson Blood Academy, wore her usual air of calm. Beside her strode Tessie Rad and Holder Snowmane. Lucas Wolfsbreath adjusted his wolf-engraved cloak, eyes sweeping the crowd with sharp vigilance. Atop the high platform of the council hall stood Chandler Horan, rigid as a blade of cold steel mounted on the city walls. His voice cut through murmurs like frost. His minx addresses the lingering consequences of the soul rift and wandering soul curses, and the joint enforcement of the threefold sacred heart. Reports from Crimson Blood Academy and the Septum of Spirits confirmed that both had implemented heart wheel resonance and inside mirrors. However, the Crimson Moon scroll fragments have dispersed once again. The blood, inscribed stone has been stolen, and the abyssal rift continues to tremble with residual force. If we do not root out these threats, the power of the soul rift and wandering dead shall rise anew. In the corner, several counselors whispered among themselves, their brows deeply furrowed. A white-haired nobleman stepped slowly onto the dais, leaning heavily on an obsidian scepter. His gaze landed on Alice with thinly veiled contempt. Miss Alison, did you not battle with the wolf, keen to the rift abyss last night? The human council has long dismissed the soul, called child of prophecy. Your father named you. If you refuse to surrender with the Crimson Scroll and its pages, then the Holy City must question the loyalty of Crimson Blood Academy. Alison's eyes blazed as she stepped boldly onto the platform. Chancellor Horan, Sir Eric, esteemed counselors, my allies and I did not act out of ambition, but to seal away forever the very roots of the soul, rift, and the dead. Had I not recovered the core spell fragments, the powers of the wandering souls would have already consumed our fortress and Crimson Blood Academy. If you truly care for the safety of our people, then you should march with us into the abyssal rift, rather than stand here spewing empty arrogance. The square fell deadly silent. All eyes were fixed on her unwavering gaze. Elder Eric sneered. If you were so sincere, why did you disappear for 2 days? Rumors now spread that you and the Wolf Chief forged a secret pact, binding the threefold Sacred Heart under the power of the blood, inscribed stone, and the Wolf Blade. Shall the Holy City tolerate such treachery? Lucas clenched his fists, fury flashing in his eyes. Elder Eric, the Wolf Clan and Crimson Academy braved the horror of the wandering souls together. If you seek to question our actions, perhaps ask yourselves whether it is your faction that hopes to reclaim soul dominion for the humans under the guise of our resurrection. Chinsey stepped beside Alison, his voice low but resolute. Counselors, behold this. So he raised the wandering soul mirror array, and the sigil of the heart wheel high above his head. The original seals of Tiny and Tian King were not forged in the Holy City, but in the northern frontier. If we allow politics to fracture the unity of the 3 clans, the soul rift and the dead will storm every gate in unison. This is no threat, it is truth. The forces of the dead have already breached our walls. If you remain obsessed with power, then the Holy City will become nothing more than mausoleum for wandering souls. The faces of the counselors turned pale. No one dared speak further. Chancellor Horn raised his hand. Very well. Then today we shall enact the following. All discussions with Crimson Blood Academy and the Tri-Clan Assembly are to be postponed. A joint investigation unit will be formed to accompany Alison and her party into the rift abyss. Meanwhile, with the Crimson Moon Scroll fragment still unaccounted for, we shall establish the Second Watch Ward. Apprentices from all clans will rotate guard duty to assure remnants of the forbidden curse enter city. Alison, Chengxi, and Lucas exchanged glances, reading the iron resolve and lingering worry in each other's eyes. The shadow of political schemes still loomed over the Holy City. And in the dangerous game of power, they would need every ounce of cunning, not only to survive, but to expose the real puppeteer who held cursed fragments behind the veil. Section. Raider in the dark sanctum that night, deep in the rear alley of Crimson Blood Academy, quiet perhaps suddenly broke the stillness in our watch house. Alison, Chengxi, and Holder rushed to the scene. Flames flickered in the dim light. The courtyard walls were scored with charred lines. From the mouth of the stone lion atop the courtyard gate jutted a newly carved wolf, fang dagger, still slick with fresh blood. Jen crouched and picked it up, his brows furrowing. These runes, twisted variants of the wandering soul sigils. No ordinary hand could craft this. Just then, a Pen Academy apprentice stumbled in, his robe soaking blood and his eyes wide with terror. Commanders, there's someone hiding in the archive pavilion. It's one of the bloodline in voice. He tried to burn the Crimson Moon Scroll and the blood, inscribed stone in the dead of night. Holder immediately drew his blade. Take us there. They stormed toward the archive. The pavilion doors were charred to ash. On the scorched stone lay the overlapping burn marks of wolf sigils and frost blue curses. Chet's expression darkened. He raised the wandering soul mirror and pointed it into the ruin. The spellcaster isn't of pure bloodline descent. He's a hybrid, a hidden lineage born from Crimson Moon and the wolf ancestors. He's trying to revive the ancient right of living do it by harnessing power of the dead. Inside, scrolls and bloodstained tomes lay scattered. One section of the shelves had been freshly disturbed. Alison rushed forward and picked up a torn page soaked in blood, marked with the intertwined sigils of wolf soul and bloodline rune. This is one of the origins of the Codex of the Void. If we don't retrieve every fragment in time, it could feed another surge of the dead's darkness. Nancy pressed his hand to his lips, voice cold. Last night, we chased ghost envoys through the outskirts, but we overlooked the undercurrents festering within the academy. This traitor must be inspired in advance. Their plan is to let the wandering curse fester from within the Holy City. Alison gritted her teeth. I will not allow anyone to trample on my father's legacy, or Tankang's dying wish. Holder, take this fragment back to the Sanctum of Spirits. Have the High Priest seal it immediately. Chensey and I will track the traitor, and uncover the forces behind him. Holder accepted the fragment and led the apprentice away, his hand tied around the sword bound with sealing runes. Alison and Chensey sprinted into the darkness. Night wind sliced through the alleys like knives, carrying the cries of wandering souls. High atop the tower walls, a flicker of movement, a shadow darting through the city's labyrinthine alleys. The traitor had vanished into the maze. He was the so-called blood hair of the moon, and behind him lurked a power far greater than anyone had yet dared to name. Three-faced night was as black as ink. The wolf head gargoyle atop the walls of where her keep was sharpened into a blade by the moonlight. Wind swept through the abandoned marketplace, lifting dry leaves and dust, slamming them into shattered shop windows with muffled thuds. Alison hard crouched in the arrow tower at the top of the city wall, her breath loud and urgent in heavy silence. Her left hand gripped the letter tightly, while her right trembled uncontrollably. The bloodstains on the parchment were still tacky, and the paper bore the strange runes her father had left behind just before his death. Hey, what does this even mean? She whispered, unfolding the letter under the moonlight. The runes curved and twisted, like ancient script warped by droplets of blood. Resembled soul, rending leaps she had never seen before. More primal, more distorted. A flicker of pale silver, grey moonlight caught the corner of her eye, and for a brief moment, she recalled what her father had once warned her about. The power of soul-rending, once awakened, leaves no heart at peace. But she had never imagined that soul-rending would one day breach into her world. Suddenly, a low wolf's howl echoed from below the tower, followed by a sharp flurry of war drums and horns. Alison sprang to her feet. Winga scattering a few loose strands of her hair into the moonlight. She quickly folded the rune, marked the letter, and tucked it into her cloak, then looked toward the watchtower at the base of the wall. Dim torchlight flickered along the parapets, and soldiers moved swiftly past bonfires, their silhouettes burning in haste. She knew this wasn't normal wolf's cry at midnight. Something unheard of at her keep, especially now, when the ancient wolf peak, first miles outside the city, had remained quiet ever since the iron pact among the three clans was forged months ago. Wolves all pack stood up, tightening her chest. Alice pulled her cloak tighter around her shoulders and raced down toward the watchtower. The moonlight, pale and steel blue, broke through a crack in the clouds and lit up her face. Resolute, etched with fear. Chapter 1. The sudden change beneath the wall. The watchtower bonfire had just been rekindled. A few soldiers stood at the ready, gripping spears and torches, eyes fixed intensely on the darkness beyond the city walls. Alison bolted over the low battlement, her boots striking the slick stone brick like the imprint of a wolf's paw. A sharp jolt of pain shot up through her soul, enough to snap her fully awake. Guard Holden Snowman caught sight of her stumbling toward them and shouted, "Miss Alison, watch out!" But he was too far to catch her in time. She bit her lips, scrambled upright, and turned just in time to catch a glimpse of what lay beyond the walls. The unrestrained howls of wolves pierced the air. Dozens of them reached just outside the abandoned gate, their eyes in the moonlight glinting like bottomless of ice. These were ordinary wolves. Holden muttered, eyes narrowing. The blade of his wolf saber glinted with cold light as he stepped forward to shield her. "This place isn't safe. I'm getting you to the priest's tower." The night wind kicked up clouds of dust, swirling around them as the wolves' shadows stretched long across the cobbled ground, seen faintly with red. But Alison's gaze drifted to the blood-stained letter still tucked inside her cloak, and her heartbeat quickened. What exactly had happened that her father died? Why had he chosen to leave her the prophecy? In those rooms, do you hear that? Her voice trembled as she pointed into the distance. It's like they're murmuring something. Holden followed her gaze. Several of the wolves, larger than any normal kind, were collared dyed a deep blue red, their head lowered in unnatural stillness. They crouched amid the frostbitten grass just outside city gates, and when they growled, the sounds that escaped were almost human. Restless spirits, whispers of the soul rent. Holden's voice dropped as he tightened his grip on the hilt of his blade. Together, they slipped behind stone doors of the nearby priest's tower. Time had bleached the ancient doors pale, and faded runes were carved deep into the stone surface. Inside, the broken murals and withered columns flickered with candlelight. The air reeked of incense and dried blood. Alison took a deep breath and gave Holden a resolute nod. Inwardly, she reminded herself, no matter how terrifying this becomes, she cannot let her father's final clues go to waste. Chapter 2. The Prioress's Warning. The tower interior was dimly lit. Prioress Valera sat quietly on a worn bench, her silver, white hair draped over her chest, her expression as cold and unreadable as ever. When the two breathless figures burst in, she looked up slowly, her voice softer than the wind outside. "I knew you would come." She rose and led them to the altar. The candle flamed flickered, and falling ash settled on the cracked stone floor like drops of blood. Reaching beneath the altar, Valera retrieved a rolled parchment and unrolled it carefully. "This is the counterpart to the letter your father left you. Before his death, he summoned me to sacred it. But he passed before he could speak more." Her fingers brushed over the runes, a flicker of sorrow in her eyes. "In his final moments, your father gave you this prophecy of the soul rent. With his last breath, he said only one thing: the void draws near. The dead shall return." Then he was on. Alison's fists clenched tight. "Prioress, why did you all keep this prophecy hidden? If my father knew the danger of the soul, rent and dead, why didn't he tell me?" Her voice trembled, laced with anger that left no room for excuses. Valera sighed. "The one who inscribed this prophecy was the insect cold-blood, a blood-born priestess from your father's generation. She once attempted to purify the soul, rent using sacred incantations, but the dead turned on her. Your father saved her life. In return, Tianzang entrusted him with remnants of the runes, fearing they might be misused." She paused, her voice grave. "To preserve peace among the three clans, your father and our order agreed to seal the scroll away, but we never expected the prophecy would still leak out. And now, the soul rent has begun to stir. The dead are whispering, and this city stands on the brink." Alison gripped the stud of the scroll so tightly that veins bulged across her hands. "No, as there truly no way to stop the prophecy from coming true. My father may have been human, but he fought beside a blood-born priestess. He stood as her equal. Isn't there? There's something in these runes, some way to undo it." Valera closed her eyes and murmured, "Prophecies are neither good nor evil. Their purpose depends on one who holds them. Your father left this in your hand so you could see the mark of the Sacred Heart, to awaken a combined power of wolf, tribe, sorcery, and blood-born spells." She studied Alison's face, her voice dropping to a whisper. "Only by uniting the heartlands of all three clans can the curse of the dead be broken. And the soul, red, sealed once more. That's what Tiandira and Tianzang sealed long ago." Then, more solemnly, she added, "You must deliver a letter within 3 days to Red Blood Academy and the Spirit Sanctuary. They must join forces to unite the Mirror of Heartwheel and the Stone of Bloodmark. If you fail, the curse of the dead will consume her keep, and the soul red prophecy will shatter the peace between the clans." Alison lowered her gaze. A cold shaft of moonlight streamed through the tower window, casting a cross, shaped shadow at her feet. In her heart, she repeated her father's last words. So long as the light of the heart embers, the void shall return to nothing. She looked up, her eyes fierce and steady. "I'll go. No matter how many lost souls try to stop me, I will seal this prophecy for good." Chapter 3. The sudden upheaval at her keep. As they stepped out of the priest's tower, Holden draped a wolf, fur cloak over Alison's shoulders. From beyond the city walls, a chorus of wolf howls erupted, laced with piercing human-like screams. The streets of her keep were eerily deserted. A few civilian corpses lay sprawled across the blood-stained cobblestone, their throats and chests torn open. The blood hadn't even clotted yet, scattered into drifting red mist, as if the air itself was still beating on it. Alison instinctively stepped back. Holden grabbed her arm with one hand and drew his wolf tooth blade with the other. "They came too fast. Tianzang's death curse has already taken root. Be careful. These aren't just savage wolves." Carefully, the two made their way past bodies, weaving through the wreckage of bent hearts and scattered iron gear near the ruined gate. The narrow alleys that once served as straight lanes were now reduced to crumbling walls and shattered roof tiles. At the far end, a crossroads led to an old bridge that pointed toward the distant Wolfy Mountains. There, dozens of wolf-shaped statues loomed under the blood-hued moonlight, ready to spring to life. Move, Holdren barked. The idiot road's waiting for us. They reached the broken city gate. Its wooden panels had been smashed inward, and behind the crumbling stonework, black and red wolf shapes flickered like ghosts watching from every crevice. Holdren vaulted forward, struck his bow in a blink, and loosed an arrow into the shadows. The figure it struck exploded into smoke with a so twisted it sent chills down Alison's spine. She clutched the scroll tight and stuffed it safely into her cloak. Red Blood Academy. Spirit Sanctuary. If the curse of the dead is already spreading, then the road ahead probably lined with traps. We'll need to move on cover of night if we want to survive long enough to reach the next stop. Suddenly, warning bells rang out. The clang of iron gongs echoed through the city, and guards began rallying in haste. Holdren glanced back. They were locking down the gates. We've got to scale the walls now and escape through the abandoned towers to the north. With another word, he sprinted up the rubble, lunging himself toward the wall's edge under the pale moonlight. Alison followed close behind. Though a growing dread pressed heavily in her chest, if the death curse could raise the dead, then well was hidden in the ruins her father left behind. Could there be an even deeper curse buried within them? They climbed over the wall and leapt down, landing hard among overgrown weeds and broken stone. The howling faded into the distance, but Alison could still hear the whispers of the dead, echoing inside her. The void is home. The dead shall return. She pressed a hand over her heart, steadying her breath, and chased after Holdren's shadow, vanishing into the night as they made their way toward the northern tower of Rushing Winds. Chapter 4. Tower of Rushing Winds in the night. Pursuit, the Tower of Rushing Winds stood as the only surviving watchtower in the northern wilds beyond her keep, a relic from the days when the wolf battled the death curses of the undead. Half collapsed, the tower's levels were little more than broken stone rams and few shattered columns, nearly blending into the ruins under the shroud of night. Holdren pulled Alison through the brittle grass. The tower's rotting wooden door still clung to a few strips of iron, and behind it, a rickety staircase that bore remained of the second-story watch deck. They ascended cautiously, feet creaking over fractured planks. The ruins of old spell runes glimmered faintly red under the flashlight's beam. Holdren raised the wolf, claw lantern made of huge bones, and called out loudly, "Where do the dead hide?" Answered the howl of the wolf's fury. From above, a ghost wolf howl echoed in reply, cold and distant. Without hesitation, Holdren bolted up the final steps, with Alison close behind. At the top, a massive spectral wolf spiraled through the air, its entire body covered in rotting bone and seed blood markings. Its mouth roared with the anguished cries of the dead, eyes blazing with hatred and madness. Holdren raised his bow, an arrow already notched. Alison held up a guard of heartlight, casting a warm glow across the tower's peak. Under the combined radiance of moonlight and heartlight, the wolf spirit writhed in agony. Holdren shouted low, crescent moon slither. A flash of great blue energy shot from his blade, tearing the undead beast apart. It howled as it crawled into ash, but with its last breath it whispered, "The void, bloodstain, shall return to the rift." The words sent a chill down Alison's spine. From the tower's summit, the wilderness stretched far and dark. Behind them, the walls of War Keep glimmered faintly with retreating firelight. In the distance, atop the peaks of the Wolf Peak mountains, wolf-shaped statues shimmered faintly red beneath the snowy moonlight, as if someone had lit a ritual blaze in the snow. Alison's eyes narrowed. Wolf Peak Mountains, that's where the Wolf Soul Hour is. If the blood ritual reaches it, the heart of the three tribes will be in danger again. Holdren's voice dropped to a warning tone. "We've driven off one of the dead wolves, but the curse won't end here. Its roots lie at the altar itself. If we can find the mark of the sacred heart your father left behind, we might be able to nullify the death curse altogether. First, we head to Red Blood Academy for the blood sigil stone, then push deeper into the mountain temple. The remnant of the dead may ambush us along the way." Alison nodded firmly. At nightfall, we returned to the outskirts of her keep to find the clue left by the messenger of the Unveil. Then we split up. You retrieve the blood sigil stone, I'll search for the remnants of 10 inscribed scrolls. One way or another, we can't let death curse spread to the wolf soul altar. If we lose altar's protection, the soul-rich curse will tear through the tribes like a flood. The wind outside howled like a blade through cloth. Under the brilliant moon, Alison and Holdren's shadows stretched across the empty wilds, dissolving into the night. The spirit wolf had vanished, but its whisper still echoed through the wind. The void descends. The dead do not rest. Chapter 5. The wind whispers of Red Blood Academy. At the break of dawn, the crimson morning light bathed the towers of Red Blood Academy in a bloody glow. Standing at the academy gates, Chelsea leaned against the stone railing, watching as Alison and Holdren returned from the northern wild. His expression was grave, and the sigil on his chest trembled slightly, emanating a faint blood-red aura. "Holdren, did you retrieve the blood seal stone?" Chelsea asked calmly, though a thread of anxiety lingered beneath his voice. Holdren stepped forward, holding a silver wolf blade and a deep crimson gemstone. The very blood sigil stone they had risked everything to find. His eyes were cold. "I have it. The protective wards of Red Blood Academy have been activated. The death curse is suppressed for now, but listen closely. Someone etched blood curse runes into the wall outside the archives. The symbols read Luna and Wolf Frost. It's clear someone is trying to secretly revive both the Soul Rift and the Death Curse. We may have a traitor inside." Chelsea gave a small nod. "I'll assign disciples and clerics to guard the archives around the clock. But for now, the blood sigil stone must be joined with the Hurt Wheel seal and placed into the sanctuary of Hollow Bone. Only then can the final segment of the rebirth spell be drawn forth. There's no time to argue over traitors. We must complete the spell first." Alison stepped forward, pulling from her cloak the blood moon scroll fragment she'd found in the tower the night before. After clearing the sand from its surface, faint markings of blood revealed the second, broken section of forbidden incantation. She handed the scroll to Chendi. "This is what the ancestor wrote before her death. It's key to finishing the rebirth spell. But if we get even one line wrong, the death curse won't dissipate. Worse, it'll root the soul rift curse deeper into the bloodline." Chendi tapped the scroll gently with his seal staff, placing both the scroll and the blood sigil stone into the cauldron of radiant flame. A pillar of blood. Red light rushed skyward, staining the entire ceiling of Sanctum of Light in a hellish glow. From within that glow, the broken words on the scroll and the stone pulse and reshaped, revealing four ancient left blood moon unison. It was as if Tian's soul was guiding them through the scroll itself. But as the lips appeared, a chilling scream filled the air, like cries of 1,000 lost souls. Alison felt a searing pain in her chest, but gritted her teeth and forced herself to stay upright. If that's what it means, then we have no choice. We must head to the wolf soul altar immediately. If the undead, the phrase blood moon in unison, soul rift and the hearts will fully merge, and that darkness will spread from Wolf Peak Mountains, devouring all 3 tribes. Fancy still called on, looking the scroll and sewn within a rune containment box. He then pressed the sigil marked mirror of the undead against his chest, fixing a protective rune into place. We have to reach Wolf Peak at full speed. Only by fusing the final part of the rebirth spell with the heart wheel shield can we unlock the mirror of insight, which will show us the true path forward. The undead are watching us and preying on every moment of doubt. Hold true to his fang blade, its iron edge gleaming with cold light. I'll escort you both to the base of the mountain. The Wolf King sentries there have rigged the soul fang trap, enough to hold back the undead raids for a while. But past that line, you'll be on your own. Only your inner light and spellcraft can guide you through what's coming. Moaning wind swept through Red Blood Academy, flickering through doors light and chilling stone. The 3 of them moved forward without hesitation, their footsteps firm and united. Side by side they walked on, carving a silent oath into their hearts. No matter how fiercely the undead return, the sacred heart of the 3 tribes must remain in sync. Chapter 6. Wolf Soul Thunder Array. The gate summoning as dusk settled. The 3 of them stepped into the Wolf Soul Thunder Array at the base of the mountain. Thunder, spike-shaped like wolf fangs, pierced deep into the snow. At the core of the array, sharp halls echoed through the air. Black, blue arcs of lightning exploded outward, shattering any passing phantom of the undead in an instant. Holden raised his blade and moved ahead. Alison, Chancy, stay close. The undead are cunning. Don't fall for their tricks. Once across this array, we'll be near the heart of the Wolf Peak Mountains abyss. Alison drew a deep breath as the light of her heart wheel seal briefly interwove with crackling thunder. With a quick turn of her wrist, the seal burst into silver, white barrier, shielding them from the lightning bursts and flying debris. She saw several undead apparitions crushed to ash by a falling thunderstone, then vanish into the snow like vapor. The array was powerful, but not foolproof. If she didn't move quickly, and the phantoms swarmed her, there would be no chance of survival. Chancy stepped lightly over the burning runes of crimson sigils, bloodlight flaring beneath his feet like living flame. He tapped the rune of the mirror of the undead on his chest, making it harder for the undead to hide in the shadows. He noticed several runes in the array were eroded, tainted by the death curse, on the verge of failure. If we don't patch these glyphs fast, he said, raising his staff, the curse will break through. Once we reach the outer mountain gate, I'll draw the bloodlight recast barrier to seal the corruption. Holdren led from the front, blade flashing, guarding through the undead phantoms while staying alert. This array's been here for over a century. It etched into Wolfland's blood memory. Even when the dead are repelled, they always come back, searching for weak spots. He crushed a worn-out blue wolf root stone beneath his boot and replaced it with a red blood sigil shard from the academy. Instantly, a small sector of the array surged with power. Lightning flared skyward, forcing the undead to retreat. The 3 advanced with full concentration. As they neared the mountain gate, it emerged from the darkness. Twin wolf, headstone pillars standing tall, wrapped in withered vines and blooming blood-red flowers. On the lintel above, ancient wolf cleanser was carved. By moonlight we shield, by blood we seal. Undead shall not pass. The soul rift shall not rise again. Alison took a steady breath and stepped forward, pulling her wolf crest cloak tighter over her chest. Her heartbeat thundered like chains pulled taut. These words, the oath forged by our ancestors, wolves and Blicknalak. They forged the sacred heart with moonlight and blood to seal away the power of the undead. If I can't follow that path tonight, the curse will slip through every crack. Behind her, Holdren stood ready, lifting the sigil case entrusted to them by the academy. Chancy stood beside them, both hands holding the blood moon scroll and blood sigil stone, the incantation already forming on his lips. Are you ready? Holdren asked quietly. Alison nodded firmly. Whether leads to life or death, we must seal the undead and soul rift for good. Chancy began to chant. Light of the blood moon, in force with the wolf soul, let blood lock the curse. Never can shall the undead return. Together, they placed the blood moon scroll into the wolf. Eyes locked at the center of the stone gate, pressing the blood sigil stone atop it. Beneath them, the heart will seal and wolf soul warding seals activated in unison. They lit up in haunting hues of red, blue, and gray, and the thunderous groan it opened, revealing a winding passageway that spiraled up toward the mountain's peak. A fierce scream screamed through the gap like the halls of countless spirits. Along the narrow path, flickering wolf-like shadows appeared and vanished, as if guiding or watching. Alison clutched the prophecy letter tighter and stepped cautiously forward. This path is the final stretch to the wolf soul altar. My father's prophecy, chance and last wish, they will either be fulfilled or destroyed up there. Then entered the corridor, steep and narrow, with a sheer drop into a bottomless abyss on either side. Ancient carvings of blood moons and wolf kings line the walls. Their inscriptions fade by time, whispering silent stories of the past. A grand battle of blood and wolves once raged here, sealing away the undead in the rift. But now, with the gate open, even those ancient seals felt dangerously unstable. Cold winged deeper than before. At corridor's far end, swirls of silver blue, light and blood, red shadow pulsed and twisted in silence. Holdren raised his fang blade, his voice like a growl. Undead, where are you hiding? Come now. Face the judgment of the wolf's blade in the heart's light. Alison and Penny followed behind, step by step, up toward the summit. But unease soiled in their hearts. They had reached the altar. True battle was only beginning. Beyond the gate, the fractures of a once healing beast were starting to rip open once more. Chapter 7. Sacred and sinister at Wolf Soul Altar. The Wolf Soul Altar rose high atop a mountain peak. A blood rune hung low in the sky, while fierce winds carried dent and ash in all directions. Around the altar stood 7 stone pillars, each crowned with a snarling wolf head, devouring serpentine shadows tangled with blood. At the center, the sacrificial platform, the wolf bone inlaid with gray, blue runes. Hovering above it was a shattered, blood-colored crystal, a shard of the soul rift heart, said to contain the power of the undead and capable of breaching the wolf soul warding seal. The 3 stood at the altar's base, blade and moonlight flickering across the ancient stone. Spectral undead surged below, writhing as though ready to scale the stone railings. Holdren called out sharply. The phantoms are gathering. They're pulling on the seal array. We have to combine the heart wheel, the spell, and the blood sigil shield. If we don't extinguish the undead flame now, this altar will turn into the next gate to hell. Alison gazed up at the wolf bone altar, casting the light of her heart wheel across it. The broken blood crystal won't heal unless it absorbs the residual echo of a rebirth spell. The wolf soul shield must be summoned from all directions at once. It's the only way to activate it. She began to chant softly, evoking both the rebirth incantation and the wolf's soul hymn. Silver light intertwined with the deep wolf, blue glow, transforming into a rain of radiant sparks that drifted down upon the 7 stone pillars. The carved wolf heads atop each pillar suddenly opened their mouths, releasing a surge of ghostly gray, blue light blasted the undead phantoms back. Teddy raised the blood sigil stone above his head. Crimson light burst forth, entangling with a rain of silver and blue. As he chanted in a voice like a sigh, the bloodlight surged like a tidal wave, sealing the cracks beneath the pillars. The undead wailed in pain. Holden gripped both blades tightly, then unleashed a reactive slash. A chilling wave of gray, blue energy cut through the remaining phantoms, shredding them into nothingness. At the center of the altar, the broken blood crystal began to spin slowly under the woven light, the fractured cloak stealing into a single complete blood-red heart. In that instant, a violent storm erupted. The blood moon poured eerie light downward as the altar's surrounding runes shattered into dust, swept into the storm winds. From the crystal's core, a beam of searing light shot upward into the sky. Alison's heart trembled. She hadn't expected such overwhelming power from the altar. Within the beam, a twisted figure began to take shape. Tianzan's soul. Her face was pale, not with rage, but with deep, enduring sorrow. Floating above the altar, she held the now whole soul retard in hands and whispered, "By the unity of souls, by the rebirth of the blood moon, Tianzang's will may now rest." Then she raised the krill above her head and gently lowered it into the heart of the converting light, where blood and silver blue merged. The light dissipated in an instant. The blood crystal crumbled to ash and scattered on the wind. The storm ceased. Silence fell. The altar and its stone pillar shone faintly under the blood moon, washed in pale grey light. Tianzang's soul vanished too, dissolving into countless glimmering motes, falling around them like stardust. Holden lowered his blades, breathing hard. The attack crystal resonated with the wolf's soul, and gave Tian peace in her final moment. But why did she hide it so deep within the altar? Was it redemption for the undead, or a prayer to the blood moon itself? Alison looked pale, but kept her eyes on the altar. Maybe her wish wasn't to lay dead to rest. Maybe she wanted the 3 clans to find a new balance, new trust, win chaos of the soul rift and the undead. It wasn't just attachment, it was hope. And if we failed the altar's trial today, we never stop the undead resurgence at its root. Chansey gently lowered the blood sigil stone and sighed. The soul rift heart is ash. Its power is gone, but the soul-sea undead curse still lingers in the wolf field. If we don't continue to guard against it, this altar will be nothing more than a temporary barrier. Doomed to fall, we must embed the heart-wheel shield in that altar at the sanctum of spirits, and let it resonate with the anchored hearts of all 3 clans. Only then can we erase the last traces of the undead curse for good. Chapter 8. Hunter's Eye. The forgotten clue. Just as the 3 descended from the wolf soul altar and began their journey home, a thin morning spread through the valley. Amid the haze, a golden figure appeared, hidden behind a shadowed rock, clutching a worn parchment map. The map marked reach and stone formations, the wolf soul altar, the scarlet moon blood hall, and further still, the root abyss. Reflecting in his eyes were the determined faces of Alison, Holden, and Kenny as they moved. He slowly raised his longbow and fired an arrow into the sky. The arrow tip sliced through the dawn light, landing at Alison's feet. Holden reached instantly, dodging and drawing his blade to block any follow-up. But before the wind's whistle faded, the golden figure vanished like drifting sand along the distant cliff. The 3 released their held breaths and picked up the arrow. Etched along the blade was a line of tiny runes. Eye of Void, never extinguished. Eye of the Void. Alison's heart melted. This means someone is using the aftershocks of the void rift to watch us. He didn't just send an arrow. He's spying on the altar's outcome. Every step we take is on his case. Shindy glared apart from the map, frowning deeply. This arrow and those runes there are not the end's doing. They're a hunter's signal. He's trying to lead us to the rift to aid us. Maybe the core truth behind the undead curse is still hidden there. We have to follow his trail, or we'll be led straight into the abyss of death. Holden tossed the arrow to the ground. Since the sun's wildness, the Eye of Void is no longer hidden. We must change course and head to the rift abyss, its gateway to the deepest parts of the Void Codex, in the final battleground of Dank and Tiny. If we don't uncover the truth there, the roots of the undead and soul rift curses will never be severed. The 3 clans will remain trapped in darkness forever. Alison's eyes hardened as she stepped forward. My father's runes, the Chansang's soul, the Eye of the Void all point to one place. We've already walked halfway down the path of death. Only the final stretch remains. If there's no turning back, then I'll offer my heart's light and faith to win dawn for the 3 clans. Chapter 9. Rift Abyss. On the edge of despair and hope, the rift abyss lay hidden at the northernmost edge of the Wolf Peak Mountains. The terrain was steep, with cliff faces weathered into countless cracks that looked like giant open jaws, ready to swallow anyone whole. Jesse pointed at the worn parchment map. This black stone hollow is where the Wolf Clan ancestors bit the soul, severing stakes with their blood and bones. If you haul into the abyss, the gate to the undead opens. If those souls aren't put to rest properly, they'll become an eternal tide of spirits that will drown the world. Night was falling, and howling felt like it could devour all living things. Alice and Lucas gently leaned each other as they crossed rolling stones and chasms. Their steps were heavy but never altered. In the wind, the echo of the undead curse surged like a tidal wave, threatening to break their spirits. Holden raised his bow on his shoulder, slamming his wolf-toothed dagger like a claw against the rock face to carve out a narrow path. With every step, ghostly spirits tried to drag them back into hell. A heart, like damn. Alison gritted her teeth, pressing the heart-wheel seal against her chest. A silver glow shielded them, pushing back the undead assault. Lucas roared, the wolf soul curse surging within him, his grey, blue blades slicing through wind and ghostly shadows. Jesse chanted the bloodlight curse, unleashing red flames that turned remaining runes on the cliff wall to ash. Together, the 3 finally reached the edge of the rift abyss. Below, a bottomless void of black emptiness yawned endlessly. Ancient out of blood and wolves were carved into the cliffs. Soul rift and undead cannot coexist. The tide void, only sacred light can turn back. The vow echoed like a warning in Allison's ears. She looked down at the second volume of the rebirth scroll, the heart-wheel seal, the blood-patterned stone, and the wolf soul shut in her hands. A calm unlike any before rose within her. This is both the end and the beginning. We must unite these 4 to reverse the river where undead and soul rift can tether. Otherwise, the tidal void will consume everything. Alison's voice trembled but held unshackled resolve. Jenzy and Lucas nodded. You lead, Alison. Our magic will pave the path of light for you and protect you. One by one, they cast the scarlet moon scroll, heart wheel seal, blood pattern stone, and wolf soul seal into the abyss. Their bodies and heart light spun in harmony, bursting into a blaze of radiant light that dissolved the abyss into mist. The undead's roars echoed fiercely, as if fighting a light for their right to exist. At the climax of this struggle, a dazzling pair of golden wings emerged from the mist. The embodiment of the three lamps, sacred hearts, blood red and silver blue intertwined, absorbing and fusing the abyss. In an instant, the deepest darkness was swallowed by a blood moon's radiance. The rift shattered, and the mountains and rivers returned to silence. The thieves sank onto the cliff's edge, blood moonlight breaking through clouds like flowing water, reflecting their tired but satisfied smiles. The undead cried out, their illusions shed, everything finally faded into nothingness. Chapter 10. After glow of dawn, and foreshadowing of the second chapter, as the first rays of dawn shattered over the northern wasteland, the three chiefs stumbled back to the ruins of the wolf soul altar. They gazed at the lingering embers of the blood moon. Ashes formed from the sacred hearts of the three clans, the protected rune of Herberg, Crimson Blood Academy, and the spirit sanctuary flickered with light, sending a message of victory back to them. Lucas dropped his wolf-patterned cloak, eyes fixed on the void below the cliff. Quietly, he said to Alison, the roots of the undead and soul rift are destroyed, but the soul-severing stakes beneath the mountain are an enduring spell. If someone quietly pieces together the whole scroll late at night, the soul rift disaster could be awakened again. Chelsea took the remaining pages of the birth scroll, her fingertips still marked with golden bloodstains. We've poured out all our magic, but this isn't the end. The fragments of void codex that Tian King and Tian Yi tried to steal may still be stirring somewhere. If they regroup, the power of the undead and soul rift will be even more terrifying than the night. Alison clenched her fist, her gaze is sharp and icy. Eni's archery is only temporary. The second chapter begins in the afterglow of the sun. Our next destination is the Dragonbone Ruins, the original source of the undead and soul rift, and resting place of the core of the void. Only there can we completely shatter the roots of darkness and lead the three clans a path that never falls into despair. The wind swept through the valley, cold yet refreshing. The three exchanged tired but determined smiles. They knew the real trial had only just begun. Though the undead and soul rift were temporarily silenced, the tide of the void still flowed in the shadows. What awaited them was a longer, deeper, and more complex battle of heart and faith. As they turned to leave, a gust stirred a swirl of snow and dust at the cliff's edge, revealing a decayed wolf bone inscribed with an incomplete rune. Core of the void, shattered and unclean. If the wolf soul returns, darkness will reclaim. The broken rune drifted like a ghost on the mountain breeze, falling into the abyss. It carried the chilling warning the shadow of the second chapter had already taken root. The sacred hearts of the three clans could only temporarily contain the darkness, not finish it entirely. After the long night, no clear path remains. Only the light of the heart and the faith of blood can illuminate that endless rift of the void. Chapter I echoes of the dragon altar beneath a sky ash grey twilight. The dragonbone altar lay half buried in snow and silence. Alison traced the faded line of the weathered map, her fingers brushing across ancient runes carved into the shattered skeletal remains. This was once the battlefield where the old wolf king clashed with the soul maiden of the dead. She murmured, if the legend hold, the original fragments of the codex of the void might be in here. Lucas heightened his grip on his fan blade, eyes sharp and glinting like ice. Beneath the cliffs lie around the dead and curses alike. Their hatred still lingers. Beside them, Dawnshade, the bloodborne sage, raised the crimson moon talisman, and the stone of blood sigils into a column of light. His voice was whisper ancient syllables. Power to pierce the veil, reveal the seal of our threefold hearts. Red and silver, blue light intertwined, pulsing like veins of molten magic. The altar trembled. Shards of bone and broken sigils quivered in their ancient bed. When the final glimmer of light faded, half burnt piece of parchment surfaced from the bones. Ancient flickering blood runes was a dire warning. So long as the wolf soul endures, the dead shall rise anew. A chill passed through them. The clash between Tiny and Kyung-hae had not ended with bloodshed. It was merely the surface of a deeper family secret. A special wind rose from beneath the altar. House of the lost dead scattered like ash on the storm. Alison tucked the scorched scroll into her coat, whispering, the truth we seek lies buried in bone and blood. A shepherd took the shadow of the umbral envoy midnight approached, and the wind howled across the desolate plains. A crumbling outpost flickered with dim torchlight. In the snow near the gates, Holder stumbled upon a corpse clad in wolfskin. A sigil forged into its chest, the eye of the void. A black-bladed longbow lay beside it, its edge still slick with blood. Alison knelt and brushed the dried gore from the cloak, revealing an unfamiliar crest carved to the hilt of a knife. This is the mark of an umbral envoy, she said grimly. Whoever they are, they've been using the eye of void to watch us from the shadows. As darkness deepened, a voice stripped a wind, low, broken, almost a chant. The void endures. The soul rend returns. Words fade like a dead man's last breath behind the outpost. Holder stiffened. Something moves in the dark. Someone is tracking us, manipulating remnants of the dead to draw us deeper into their trap. Lucas frowned. If the envoy is luring us into the chasm below, we may not return. We must track him now. Find where he hides before it's too late. Alison swallowed her unease. What lies beneath all this? Who is he, and did my father or Tian King have faced him before? Chapter 2. Bliss schemes beneath the Crimson Academy the following evening. Crimson Elder Chamber blazed with lamplight. Dawnshade stood amidst a circle of bloodborne elders. Their whispers thick with unease. The dead have been banished. The Crimson Moon talisman sealed, he said. But if someone within the academy is recreating fragments of the Codex of the Void, we may never know it until it's too late. Elder Blood Priest Actus furrowed his brow. There are whispers of those who wish to wield the dead's power to revive the ancient bloodborne right, to see bloodborne rule the northern wastes once more. If we don't root out these traitors, the fragile peace among the threefold tribe will shatter. Alison exchanged a glance with Dawnshade. Moonlight filtered through the frost-laced windows, catching in their very eyes. Suddenly, a young acolyte burst through the doors, breathless and pale. The archives, he gasped. Someone broke in during the night. The Crimson Moon talisman fragments. They're gone. And then wolf marked iron seal that bound the enchantments. They destroyed. Dawnchade's crimson pupils flared. This means we have a traitor among us. The soul curse and forbidden soul rend. They were never fully extinguished. And now, someone has begun to awaken them. Alison's fists clenched. Seal the archives. No one leaves until we find who did this. If we fail, the alliance will fall, and no one will survive the storm to come. After IV Hot Mirror Trial, illusions shared that same night within the kingdom of spirits. Spirits The four stood in quiet reverence inside the chamber of insight. Before each of them lay a polished steel mirror, a heart mirror, its surface pulsing a soft silver glow. One by one, Alison looked at dawn shade and Holder knelt before its gleaming depth. The mirror light flickered. From its surface, the inner truths began to unfold as living phantoms. In Alison's reflection, a child stared back, small, afraid, and abandoned. Her father's silhouette turned to dust, crumbling in the chasm below. A voice echoed from the abyss. "In care of your bloodline." Grief cut deep, but she stood tall, defiant. "I will bear the loneliness and fear this prophecy brings, but I will fight for the truth." In Lucas' vision, he faced the towering image of his father, eyes hard frost. "If you ally with humans, you betray your own kind," the old wolf growled. Lucas held his blade tight, jaw clenched. "If sealing the truth only delays disaster, I will break our laws. I choose peace." The spectral father sneered. "Swear against your blood, and the wolf's soul shall never rest." A shattered blade burst from the darkness, hurtling toward Lucas's heart, but fire blazed in his crimson gaze. Then, I'll wield the wolf's soul to protect all reclaims. The illusion shattered. Shade's reflection opened in fire. The sacred temple of the Bloodbone burned around him. Through ashen screams, he chanted a forbidden blood spell, heal the wounded. Elders' voices rang out. "To you the soul curse is to damn us all." Tears streaked his face. "If we do not guide others through despair, how can the Bloodborne ever find redemption?" The mirror showed him cradling the soul of a lifeless child, whispering, "Our salvation is born of blood and grief. Without it, the dead will never rest." Then flame consumed his form, leaving behind the crimson's mirror. At last, all four opened their eyes. The mirror dissolved into a single thread of golden light before fading to nothing. They rose, solemn and silent. Without the heart mirror, the meaning of this trial would have remained buried. Alison raised her hand, palm open to the others. "We've seen each other's deepest fears, and the strength that endures beyond them. Only with that shared light of the heart can we resist the darkness of the soul and the curse of the dead." Lucas and Dawnshade nodded, firm in purpose. Holder stepped forward, voice steady from this moment. "Whenever the path thickens, we carry this trial's bond our shield." Dawn, chapter of heavy hair of the crimson blood shrine. At dawn, the entrance to the crimson blood shrine lay silent, shrouded in the last flickers of candlelight and the whispering chill of the wind. Only echoes remained. Alison, Lucas, and Chimsy stepped through the stone gates, his surface still stained with ancient blood. Within the shrine, faint murals lingered on the weather-worn walls, depictions of Tiangang in ages past, healing the people with divine blood. Her eyes were filled with compassion, her hands channeling sacred essence into the villages. Yet the final image was marred by tragedy. A shadow priest ambushed her, and she vanished into darkness. On the dust-covered altar, several jarred pieces of talisman paper lay scattered. Alison rose onto her toes and delicately picked one up. She read aloud, "By the will of the crimson moon, sworn in tears of blood, let my soul return to the light." At that very moment, a soft cough echoed from shadows. A man emerged slowly from the dark, clad in black robe, his face concealed behind a mask. Yet beneath the mask, a pair of clear golden eyes met theirs. "You've come just as I knew you would," he said calmly. "I am the blood hair of the crimson moon, sole surviving descendant of Tiangang bloodline. I am here for only one reason, stop you from invoking that cursed incantation." Lucas stepped forward, eyes narrowing. "If you are her bloodline's hair, why didn't you seek help from crimson blood at me?" The hair gave a bitter smile. "Who would wish for a cursed seed like me to survive? To them, I've always been the origin of the soul-bound curse. Even when I try to use the blood, inscribed stone to save lives, they guardians to sabotage everything. No, today, I'm here only to reveal this. Another fragment of the Codex of the Void has been hidden deep within the shrine's catacombs." Chelsea's heart trembled at the words. The catacombs, then the foundation of the soul-bound curse spans from the dragon altar all the way to the blood shrine below. "Crimson hair, will you guide us? If the Codex of the Void is ever made whole again, the three races will be cast into a despair deeper than anything we've ever faced." The hair gave a solemn nod and turned to lead the way, yet his gaze remained unfocused, like fish swimming within an endless sea of blood. Disoriented, his movements, his words, none of them were quite right. It was as if something greater, something darker, lay hidden within him. Alison's knees grew like a shadow in her chest. Still, she held the parchment scroll tightly in her hand, knowing full well there was no turning back. Chapter VI, shadows beneath and the lost her scroll, the catacombs beneath the crimson blood shrine were sealed tight. The blood hair whispered its hand, and with a low groan the hidden door creaked open. A rush of cold air met them as they descended. The stone walls slick with moisture, dripped in with their vines' blood-stained talmud papers. The air reeked of rot and the ashy remnants of some incantations. Step by cautious step, the four of them advanced. In Holder's hand, the wolf-claw lantern trembled, casting flickering light across the chamber. In slow, fragments of sheepskin scrolls came into view. Shredded, worn, and trembling with ancient energy, they were unmistakably the torn leaves of the Codex of the Void. Dwarf runes seemed to weep and whisper like the voices of lost souls. Fancy lifted one of the scrolls, fusing the arcane symbols with the blood. The inscribed stone in his hand. "This fragment was called, written by Tiny and Tiangang," he said gravely. "Only by placing it within the mirror array of the dead and burning it with the rebirthing incantation can we sever through thought." He chanted lowly, and red sigils flared to life around the scroll. The blood hair's face darkened. "If you burn it here and now," he warned, "this shrine will be reduced to ash. Tiangang's spirit will never rest." But Alison's brows furrowed, and if the dead are not freed from their hatred, they will remain trapped in this place forever. "Blood hair, why have you really brought us here? Was it only to witness the rebirth of a forbidden curse? Or do you hide something deeper still?" From behind his mask, the blood hair let out a long sigh. "I was born bearing the bloodline of Tiangang. If these souls do not disperse, I will remain a man only in form, not in spirit. And if curse is destroyed, Tiangang's soul may never find peace. Yet still, I cannot allow the three races to perish together. There's one more clue hidden in this place. A page of the Codex of the Void was carved beneath the altar to what we call the Covenant Stone. Only the mirror of the heart wheel can reveal the full incantation engraved there." He pointed to the far end of the catacombs, where a block of stone like a fallen meteor loomed in the dark. "Beyond that lies the true trial hall." Chelsea let out a heavy breath. "If Tiangang herself chose this day's life, then we must honor her wishes in death. Let her grievances be resolved. Let her spirit be still. We can only hope that, by not breaking the final seal, we won't stir dead even further." But the others nodded solemnly. Together, they stepped forward toward the altar before the black stone, waiting for the heart mirror's revelation to begin. Chapter VI, reflections in the heart mirror and tremor at the soul's edge. The heart mirror was placed before the altar of black stone, its surface tranquil, like water untouched by wind. Alison held the seal of the heart wheel, knelt upon both knees and murmured, "By the light of my heart, reveal the truth of the wandering dead." The silver white glow pulled from her chest and cast it off upon the mirror's surface. Waves rippled outward and settled, unveiling a vision from the past. Tianyi and Tianking stood at this very altar, their bloodied hand clasped, swearing to protect the fate of their kind with their very lives. But the vision twisted. Tianyi was engulfed by darkness. Tianking, in desperation, shielded the child with her own body, struggling to leave. But the tendril of death lashed onto her spirit. Tears streamed down Alison's face. Why would they betray each other? Why sacrifice the innocent? The mirror will come. Where there's a split soul, there will be wandering dead. If the blood moon remains unwhole, the void shall rise. Only by the resonance of three heart can its lyring will be severed. Suddenly, the mirror erupted into an intertwining term of blood, red and wolf blue, enveloping the four in its radiant glyphs. A blade of ice seemed to carve into Lucas's chest. Within the vision, he stood before his father, who shouted, "If you consort with the outsiders, you are no son of the wolf clan." Lucas fought against the weight of ancestral judgment. If we never defy laws that bind us, how can we save those beyond them? The illusion shattered. He gasped awake, his fingers clenched tight around the wolf's fang pendant. His loyalty was not just to his skin, to the conviction that burned with him. Jesse's eyes turned red with emotion. "I saw the others of my bloodline distill my disciple's life into soul. Questions why? Why must the blood cleanse do with this?" In the mirror, he knelt amidst flame, cradling the soul of a child, his voice a whisper of years. "If the curse must fall upon me, so be it. Let one soul peace be bought by my pain." The glow faded, Jessie trembled. "I hold no grudge. But if the dead cannot find peace, then let the blood clan bear its fate without excuse." Holder muttered an ancestral wolf incantation. Wolf soul bows to them. Blood marked her up. The mirror showed him a memory, losing his dearest companion, only to bound it to protect those he did not trust. He plunged a wolf dagger into his chest, his blood spattering sacred papers, as he swore, "If I cannot protect, then let my soul be the offering." The vision withdrew. Holder stood grim-faced, his resolve was daily. When the four rose from the mirror's embrace, their faces were pale, but their eyes carried the weight of unwavering purpose. Alison placed a hand over her heart. "We all face the deepest tremors of our souls, our pain, our truths. If we wish to break the curse at its root, we must combine the sacred hearts of all three clans. Let the dead bear witness to our resolve." Lucas and Jessie spoke as one, three clans, one heart. Illusion cannot haunt what is whole. Thus, they placed the scroll of crimson moon, the seal of heart wheel, the blood, inscribed stone, and the mark of the wolf, soul upon the altar. 1,000 rays of light burst forth, assuming the final traces of wandering souls lingering in the air. After that elegy of the abyssal rift, the final ashes of the heart mirror had yet to cool when the four companions ascended from the catacombs, racing toward the abyssal rift. Snow flurried in the gale, the wind slicing through the marrow. Lucas led the way, where the land fell in no awe. Fish were stretching like bottomless veins into the earth, devouring all light. "Our destination is the abyssal altar," he shouted above the storm. "According to the clues left by my father and Tiankin, this is where the codex of the void was truly sealed." They tread carefully along the mountain's narrow spine. A road sign marked the cliff walls, ancient coat inscribed by wolf shamans and bloodline priests. Xiang furrowed the mirror area of the dead, pressing sacred scrolls against the cliffside. This array can guide the thought of lingering souls. Then we may gliss the crest where the void ventures deepest. The wind roared on both sides, like 10,000 tortured voices whispering, "The void, the soul shall split." At last, they stood atop the edge of the abyssal rift. Beneath their feet stretched endless blackness, like a giant pupil staring into the sky. Snow whirled in a ghostly pattern, the wind howling the shriek of broken bones. Alison's eyes quivered. She clutched the sigil of the heart wheel tightly. This is it. The final step. Once we speak the full breath incantation, the heavens will tremble. The tide of the void will find no sanctuary. Lucas and Jessie exchanged a solemn glance. They read the sacred artifacts, placing the crimson moon scroll atop the altar stone. As one, they swore, "By the heart of the three clans, we sever the root of the soul rift. Let the void dissolve into nothingness." Their voices rose in unison, chanting the third and final volume of the rebirth incantation. The words blazed like fire and blood, ascending into the heavens. The wind cracked apart. From the rift below, golden fire erupted like tide molten stars, vanishing void in a surge of divine light. The abyss screamed, the phantom dead scattering like ash. Crimson and gold surged into the wound of the world, healing the fracture. Where once of awe, now stood quiet, sacred altar, pulsing with ether. The wind fell silent. Snow stopped there. All was still. The four collapsed at the cliff's edge, knees weakened by power and purpose, but their breath, though heavy, was filled with resolute peace. Chapter I Extra. The resonance of the sacred heart sigil. All night silk across the barren plains. Alison retrieved her father's scroll and began to fuse the soul rift prophecy with the threefold sacred heart sigils. The sacred sigil took the form of a silver, gray ring, etched with the emblems of all three clans. Her father's voice echoed in her memory. "This sigil must be consecrated in the sanctuary of all three tribes. Only will it resonate with the heart wheel and banish the soul rift forever." With solemn care, Alison placed the sacred sigil at the sigil of the heart wheel. In an instant, silver, gray light erupted, merging with the energies of the three sacred hearts, forming a sanctified arc that reached toward the heavens. Luke drove the wolf, engraved blade into the center of the sigil, binding the wolf's soul to its resonance. May the soul of the wolf stand as shield, guarding the future of all three clans. Jessie stepped forward and embedded the blood, inscribed stone, murmuring a quiet vow. Let the bloodline be the thread that completes the sacred heart. Three pillars light surged skyward, merging into a single ray that pierced the blue sky. Alison clutched her father's letter to her chest and proclaimed aloud, "By my father's charge and the wishes of Tianyi and Tiangang, I bind this sacred heart ward, that the wandering souls and the soul, rich may forever return to the void." Golden radiance spread like sunrise itself, washing clean the altar and the valley in holy brilliance. The four exchanged glances, their eyes shimmering with tears and triumph. Lucas whispered, "After today, the forbidden curses of the wandering souls and soul rift should become nothing but history. Without the light of our hearts, how could we ever reach this blood moon dawn?" Jessie nodded, head bowed. The final wish of Tianyi and Tiangang has become a sacred hymn, one that now illuminates the unending dark. Alison returned the sacred sigil to her breast. May the three clans remember this day always. Let the sacred heart be our eternal guardian. If any dare to awaken a forbidden curse again, let the sigil be our final chapter. Chapter X. the unfinished uncurrent, and the seeds of Chapter 3. The first rays of morning had just begun melting king snow from the mountain peaks when the communication rays of War Fortress, Crimson Blood Academy, and the Septum of Spirits all began to resonate in unison. Echoes of the sacred power had reached their respective altars, declaring that both soul of curse and the curse of the wandering dead had been vanquished. Yet as the silver brilliance faded, and the ashes of night were swallowed by the wind, something stirred. From the depths of the soul-rift abyss, a blood-stained sigil shot into the air. It glowed with pale, ghostly gold, whispering in the moonlight as it directly to the fore. The core of the void remains. The fissure still trembles beneath your hearts. Old crouched and picked up the sigil. The moment it touched his palm, a piercing shoulder shot through him. He looked up at Alison. This dark gold stone is a trap, or a warning. Alison ran her fingers along the unfamiliar runes. The void's hidden trench. I hear some darkness still sleeps below. The tiny Tiakam's rift is sealed for now. If anyone continues to reassemble the codex of the void, no sacred heart, no matter how strong, can silence the chant of the dead forever. Lucas gripped his wolf and blade tighter. Well, we may have emerged from the soul rift abyss, but we have not yet escaped the dark. The wolf chief sent word last night. There are whispers that one of our elders conspires with priests of the dead. Their goal, to resurrect the eye-flamed death beast, hoping to revive the ancient might of the pale wolf clan. Once awakened, the beast will wield both glacial frost and blazing fire. Pure annihilation. The second chapter has closed, but the real storm is just beginning. Chengxi carefully returned the corn crimson moose scroll and the sigil of the heart-filled whiskers. His voice is low but firm. The sacred heart may now exist, but if anyone dares shake the root of the three clans, we must first shatter his heart. We must head to the Grand Council Hall of the Holy City to stop the Triarch Elder's scheme, and at the same time, scour both the Wolf Peak Mountains and the wastes for signs of the ice from Death Beast. If we don't, Chapter 3 will be a far bloodier war than any we faced. Alison clenched her fist. If we are to protect the dawn of the three clans, we must carry each other's trust and forge the sacred heart into a torch bright enough to pierce the blackest abyss. Though Chapter 2 had ended, a greater challenge awaits. We cannot wait in silence. Action must never falter. The wind burned gold. The bear tower's ashes still smolder atop the mountain, whispering like ghosts. No matter how strong your sacred heart may be, darkness always takes root in silence. Chapter 3 begins with the power struggles of the Holy City and the resurrection of the ice flame death beast. New conspiracies and deeper rifts away those who still dare to believe. Chapter Eve. The undercurrent returns. Section Aiku. Shadow of power in the Holy City. Dawn's first light had yet to grace the Holy City, but Imperial Street Square was already ablaze with torchlight. Hundreds of banners bearing the crests of various clans snapped in the wind. Along both sides of the broad thoroughfare, envoys and council stewards from across the realms had gathered. Alison Hart, newly returned from the Crimson Blood Academy, wore her usual air of ice calm. Beside her strode Chinziao Grad and Holder's no name. Lucas Wolf's breath adjusted his wolf-engraved cloak, eyes sweeping the crowd with sharp vigilance. Atop the high platform of Hume Council Hall stood Chancellor Horan, rigid as a blade of cold steel mounted on the city walls. His voice cut through murmurs like frost. This morning's session addresses the lingering consequences of the soul rift and wandering soul curses, and the joint enforcement of the threefold sacred heart. Reports from Crimson Blood Academy and the Sanctum of Spirits confirm that both have implemented heart-wheel resonance and inside mirrors. However, the Crimson Moon Scroll fragments have dispersed once again. The blood inside the stone has been stolen, and the abyssal rift continues to tremble with residual force. If we do not root out these threats, the power of the all-lift, rift, and wandering dead shall rise anew. In the corner, several councillors whispered among themselves, their brows deeply furrowed. A white-haired nobleman stepped slowly onto the dais, leaning heavily on an obsidian scepter. His gaze landed on Alison with thinly veiled contempt. Miss Alison, did you not travel with the wolf, kin to the rift abyss last night? The human council has long dismissed the so-called child of prophecy. Your father named you. If you refuse to surrender both the Crimson Scroll and its pages, then the Holy City must question the loyalty of Crimson Blood Academy. Alison's eyes blazed as she stepped boldly onto the platform. Chancellor Horan, Elder Eric, esteemed councillors, my allies and I did not act out of ambition, but to seal away forever the very roots of the soul, rift, and the dead. Had I not recovered the core spell fragments, the powers of the wandering souls would have already consumed War Fortress and Crimson Blood Academy. If you truly care for the safety of our people, then you should march with us into the abyssal rift, rather than stand here spewing empty arrogance. The square fell deathly silent. All eyes were fixed on her unwavering gaze. Elder Eric sneered. If you were so sincere, why did you disappear for 2 days? Rumors now spread that you and the Wolf Chief forged a secret pact, finding the threefold sacred heart under the power of blood, inscribed stone, and the wolf blade. All the Holy City tolerates such treachery. Lucas clenched fists, fear flashing in his eyes. Elder Eric, the Wolf Clan and Crimson Academy have braved the horrors of the one soul together. If you seek to question our actions, perhaps ask yourselves whether it is your faction that hopes to reclaim soul dominion for the humans under the guise or resurrection. Jen stepped beside Alison, his voice low but resolute. Councillors, behold this. So he raised the wandering soul mirror array, and the sigil of the heart high above his head. The original seals of Tiny and Tiangang were not forged in the Holy City, but in the northern frontier. If we allow politics to fracture the unity of the three clans, the soul rift and the dead will storm every gate in unison. This is no threat, it is truth. The forces of the dead have already breached our walls. If you remain obsessed with power, then the Holy City will become nothing more than a mausoleum for wandering souls. The faces of the councillors turned pale. None dared speak further. Chancellor Horan raised his hand. Very well. Then today we shall enact the following. All discussion with Crimson Blood Academy and the Triarch Assembly are to be postponed. A joint investigation unit will be formed to accompany Alison and her party into the Rift Abyss. Meanwhile, with the Crimson Moon Scroll fragments still unaccounted for, we shall establish the Sanctum Watchword. Apprentices from all clans will rotate to guard duty to ensure no remnants of the forbidden curse enter the city. Alison, Chexie, and Lucas exchanged glances, rating iron resolve and lingering worry in each other's eye. The shadow of political schemes still loomed for the Holy City. And the dangerous game of power, it would need every ounce of cunning, not only to survive, but to expose the real puppeteer who held cursed fragments behind veil. Section. The traitor in the dark sanctum. That night, deep in the rear alley of Crimson Blood Academy, cries for help suddenly broke the stillness in her watch house. Alison, Shindy, and Holder rushed to the scene. Flames flickered in the dim light. The courtyard walls were scored with sharp lines. From the mouth of the stone lion atop the courtyard gate jutted a newly carved wolf, fanged dagger, still slick with fresh blood. Chance crouched and picked it up, his brows furrowing. These runes, twisted variants of the wandering soul sigils. No ordinary hand could craft this. Just then, a pending academy apprentice stumbled in, his soaking blood, his eyes wide with terror. Commanders, there's someone hiding in the archive pavilion. It's one of the bloodline in voice. He tried to burn crimson moon scroll and the blood, inscribed stone in the dead of night. Holder immediately drew his blade. Take us there. They stormed toward the archive. Pavilion doors were charred to ash. On the scorched stone lay the overlapping burn marks of wolf sigils and frost blue curses. His vision darkened. He raised the wandering soul mirror and pointed it into the ruin. The spellcaster isn't of pure bloodline descent. He's a hybrid, a hidden lineage born from Crimson Moon and the wolf ancestors. He's trying to revive the ancient right of Blood Moon Duet by harnessing the power of the dead. Inside, scrolls and bloodstained tomes lay scattered. One section of the shelves had been freshly disturbed. Alison rushed forward and picked up a torn page soaked in blood, marked with the intertwined sigils of wolf soul and bloodline rune. This is one of the origins of the Codex of the Void. If we don't retrieve a fragment in time, it could feed another surge of the dead's darkness. As he pressed his hand to lips, voice cold. Last night, we chased Ghost Invoice through the outskirts, but we overlooked the undercurrent fettering within the academy. This traitor must have conspired in advance. Their plan is to let the wandering curse fester from within the holy city. Alison gritted her teeth. I will not allow anyone to trample on my father's legacy, or Tungang's dying wish. Holder, take this fragment back to the Sim of Spirits. Haha, proceed immediately. Chansey and I will track the traitor, and uncover force behind him. Holder, accept the fragment, and let the apprentice away. His hand tied around the sword bound with sealing runes. Alison and Nancy sprinted into the darkness. Night wind sliced through the alleys like knives, carrying the cries of wandering souls. High atop the tower walls, of a flicker of movement, a shadow darting through the city lay ruining alleys. The traitor had vanished into the maze. He was the soul called Blood Hair of the Moon, and behind him lurked a power far greater than anyone had yet dared name. Preface: the night was as black as ink. The wolf had gargoyle atop the walls of where her keep was sharpened into a blade by the moonlight. One swept through the end marketplace, lifting dry leaves and dust, slamming them into shattered shop windows with muffled thuds. Alison crouched in the arrow tower at the top of the city wall, breath loud and urgent in the heavy silence. Her left hand gripped the letter tightly, while her right trembled uncontrollably. The bloodstains on the parchment were still tacky, and the paper bore the strange runes her father had left behind just before his death. Hey, what does this even mean? She whispered, unfolding the letter under the moonlight. The runes curved and twisted, like ancient script warped by droplets of blood. They resembled soul, rending glass she had never seen before. More primal, more distorted. A flicker of pale silver, grey moonlight caught the corner of her eye, and for a brief moment, she recalled what her father had once warned her about. The power of soul rending, once awakened, leaves no heart at peace. But she had never imagined that soul rending one day breached into her world. Suddenly, a low wolf howl echoed from below the tower, followed by a sharp flurry of war drums and horns. Alison sprang to her feet, wings scattering a few loose strands of her hair into the moonlight. She quickly folded the ruin, marked her and tucked in her cloak, then looked toward the tower at the base of the wall. Beam torchlight flickered along the parapets, and soldiers moved swiftly past the bonfires, their silhouettes darting in haste. She knew this wasn't normal a wolf's cry at night. Something unheard of at her keep, especially now, when the ancient wolf peak 4 miles outside the city had remained quiet ever since the alliance pact among the Reclan was forged months ago. Wolf saw a whole pack. Panic surged up, tightening her chest. Alison pulled her cloak tighter around her shoulders and raced down to the watchtower. The moonlight, pale and steel blue, broke through a crack in the cloud and lit her face. Resolute, yet etched with fear. Chapter 1. The sun changed beneath the wall. The white tower bonfire had just been rekindled. A few soldiers stood at the ready, gripped spears and torches, eyes fixed intently on the darkness beyond the city walls. Alison vaulted over the low battlement, her boots striking the slick stone brick like the imprint of a wolf's paw. A sharp jolt of pain shot up through her soul, enough to snap her fully awake. Guard Holden's snowing caught sight of her stumbling toward them and shouted, Miss Alison, watch out, but he was too far to catch her time. She bit her lips, trembled upright, and turned just in time to catch a glimpse of what lay beyond the walls. The unrestrained howls of wolves pierced the air. Dozens of them reached outside the abandoned gate, their eyes in the moonlight glinting like bottomless pits of ice. These are ordinary wolves. Ultra muttered, eyes narrowing. The blade of his wolf boot saber glinted with cold light as he stepped forward to shield her. This place isn't safe. I'm getting you to the priest's tower. The night wind kicked up clouds of dust, swirling around them as the wolves' shadows stretched along across the cobbled ground, tinged faintly with red. But Alison's gaze drifted to the blood-stained letter still tucked inside her cloak, and her heart quickened. What exactly had happened the night her father died? I had chosen to leave the prophecy. And those runes, do you hear that? Her voice trembled as she pointed into the distance. It's like they're murmuring something. Holdren followed her gaze. Several of the wolves, larger than any normal kind, wore colors dyed a deep blood red, their heads lowered in unnatural stillness. They crouched amid the frostbitten grass just outside the city gates, and when they growled, the sounds that escaped were almost human. Restless spirits, whispers of the soul rent. Holdren's voice dropped as he tightened his grip on the hilt of his blade. Together, they slipped behind the stone doors of the nearby priest's tower. Time had bleached the ancient doors pale, and faded runes were carved deep into the stone surface. Inside, the broken murals and weathered chapel columns flickered with candlelight. The air reeked of incense and dried blood. Alison took a deep breath and gave Holdren a resolute nod. Inwardly, she reminded herself, no matter how terrifying this becomes, she cannot let her father's final clues go to waste. Chapter 2. The Prioress's Warning. The tower interior was dimly lit. Prioress Valera sat quietly on a worn bench, silver, white hair draped over her chest, her expression as golden and red as ever. When the two breathless figures burst in, she looked up slowly, her voice softer than the wind outside. I knew it would come. She rose and led them to the altar. The kindle flame flickered, and falling ash shadow on the cracked stone floor like drops of blood. Reading beneath the altar, Valera retrieved a rolled parchment and unrolled it carefully. This is the counterpart to the letter your father left you. Before his death, he summoned me to safeguard it, but he died before he could speak more. Her fingers brushed over the runes, a flicker of sorrow in her eyes. In his final moments, your father gave you this prophecy of the soul rend. With his last breath, he said only one thing, the void draws near. The dead shall return. Then he was gone. Alison's fist clutched tight. Prioress, why did you all keep this prophecy hidden? If my father knew the danger of the soul, Ren and the dead, why didn't he tell me? Her voice trembled, laid with anger that left no room for excuses. Flare aside. The one who inscribed this prophecy was the insane cold-blood, a blood-born priestess from your father's generation. She once attempted to purify the soul, Ren using secret incantations. The dead turned on her. Your father saved her life. In return, Tianzang entrusted him with the remnants of the runes, fearing they may be misused. She paused, her voice grave. To preserve peace among the three clans, your father and our order agreed to seal the scroll away, but we never expected the prophecy would still leak out. And now, the soul rent has begun to stir. The dead are whispering. And she stands on the brink. Alison gripped the scroll, the tide that banged bulged across her hands. No, as there truly no way to stop prophecy from coming true. My father may have been human, but fought beside a blood-born priestess. He stood as her equal. Isn't there? There's something in these runes. Some way to undo it. Valera closed her eyes and murmured, prophecies are neither good nor evil. Their purpose depends on the one who holds them. Your father left this in your hand so you could seek the mark of Sacred Heart. To awake the combined power of wolf, tribe, sorcery, and bloodborne spells. She studied Alice's face, her voice dropping to a whisper. Only by uniting heartlands of all three clans can the curse of the dead be broken. A soul, Ren sealed once more. That's what Tiandira and Tianzang sealed long ago. Then, more solemnly, she added, you must deliver the letter within 3 days to Red Blood Academy and the Spirit Sanctuary. They must join forces to unite the Mirror of Heartwheel and the Stone of Bloodmark. If you fail, the curse of the dead will consume her keep, and the soul red prophecy will shatter the peace between the clans. Alison lowered her gaze. A cold shaft of moonlight streamed through the tower window, casting a cross-shaped shadow at her feet. In her heart, she repeated her father's last words. So long as the light of the heart endures, the void shall return to nothing. She looked up, her eyes fierce and steady. I'll go. No matter how many lost souls try to stop me, I will seal this prophecy for good. Chapter 3. The sudden upheaval at her keep as they stepped out of the priest's tower. Holdren draped a wolf. Fur cloak over Alison's shoulders. From beyond the sea walls, a chorus of wolf howls erupted, laced with piercing and like screams. The streets of her keep were eerily deserted. A few civilian corpses lay sprawled across the blood-stained cobblestone, their throats and chests torn open. The blood hadn't even cleared yet, scattered into drifting red mist, as if the air itself was still feeding on it. Alison instinctively stepped back. Holdren grabbed her arm with one hand and drew his wolf-toothed leg with the other. They came too fast. Chandang's death curse has already taken root. Be careful. These aren't just savage wolves. Carefully, the two made way past the bodies, weaving through the wreckage of abandoned carts and scattered iron gear near the ruined gates. The narrow alleys that once served as straight lanes were now reduced to crumbling walls and shared roof tiles. At the far end, a crossroad led to an old stone bridge that pointed toward the distant Wolf Peak Mountains. There, dozens of wolf-shaped statues loomed under the blood-hued moonlight, looking ready to spring to life. Move, Holdren barked. The idiot road swayed for us. They reached the broken city gate. Its wooden panels had been smashed inward, and behind the crumble of stonework, black and red wolf shapes flickered, like ghosts watching from every crevice. Holdren vaulted forward, strung his bow in a blink, and loosed an arrow into the shadows. The figure it struck exploded into smoke with a screech so twisted it sent chills down Alison's spine. She clutched the scroll tight and stuffed it safely in her cloak. Red Blood Academy. The Spirit Sanctuary. If the curse of the dead is already spreading, then the road ahead is probably lined with traps. We'll need to move under cover of night if we want to survive long enough to reach the next stop. Suddenly, warning bells rang out. Clang of iron gongs echoed through the city, and guards began rallying in haste. Hold glanced back. See our locking down gates. We've got scaled walls now and escape through the abandoned towers to the north. Without another word, he sprinted up the rubble, launching himself toward the wall's edge under the pale moonlight. Alison followed close behind. The growing tread pressed heavily in her chest. If the death curse could raise the dead, then what else was hidden in ruins her father left behind? Could there be an even deeper curse buried within them? They climbed over the wall and leapt down, landing hard among overgrown weeds and broken stone. The howling faded into the distance, but Alison could still hear the whispers of the dead, echoing inside her. The void is home. The dead shall return. She pressed a hand over her heart, steadying her breath, and chased after a Holdren shadow, vanishing into the night as they made their way toward the northern tower of Rushing Winds. Chapter 4. Tower of Rushing Winds in the midnight. Pursuit, the Tower of Rushing Winds stood as the only surviving watchtower in the northern mile beyond Overkeep, a relic from days when the wolf can battle the death curses of the undead. Half elapsed, the tower's upper levels were little more than broken stone railings, a few shattered columns, nearly blending into the ruins under the shroud of night. Holdren pulled Ellen through the brittle grass. The tower's rotting wooden door still clung to a few strips of iron, and behind it, a rickety staircase that bore remained of the second-story watch deck. They ascended cautiously, feet creaking over fractured planks. The remnants of old bell ruins glimmered faintly rayed under the flashlight's beam. Holdren raised a wolf, claw lantern made of used bones, and called out loudly, "Word to the dead hide." Answer with the howl of the wolf's fury. From above, a ghostly wolf howl echoed in reply, cold and distant. Without hesitation, Holdren bolted up the final steps, with Alison behind. At the top, a massive spectral wolf spiraled through the air, its entirety covered in raw bone and seared blood markings. Its mouth roared with the anguished cries of dead, eyes blazing hatred and madness. Holdren raised his bow, an arrow already notched. Alison held a shard of heartlight, casting a warm glow across the tower's peak. Under the combined radiance of moonlight and heartlight, the wolf's spirit read in again. Holdren shouted low, crescent moon splitter. A side of grey blue energy shot from his blade, tearing the undead beast apart. It howled as it crumbled into ash, but with its last breath it whispered, "The void, the bloodstain, shall return to the rift." The words sent a chill down Alison's spine. From the tower summit, the wilderness stretched far and dark. Behind them, the walls of Overkeep glimmered faintly with dreaming firelight. In the distance, atop the peaks of the Wolf Peak Mountains, wolf-shaped statues shimmered faintly red beneath the snowy moonlight, as if someone had lit a ritual blade in the snow. Alison's eye narrowed. Wolf Peak Mountains, that's where the wolf soul altar is. If the blood ritual reaches it, the heart of the three tribes will be in danger again. Holdren's voice dropped to a warning tone. We've driven off one of the undead wolves, but the curse won't end here. Its roots lie at the altar itself. If we can find the mark of the Sacred Heart your father left behind, we might be able to nullify the death curse altogether. First, we head to Red Blood Academy for the Blood Sigil Stone, then push deeper into the mountain temple, but the remnant of the dead may ambush us along the way. Alison nodded firmly. At fall, we return to the outskirts of her Key Fragment left by the messenger of Thundervale. Then we split up. You retrieve the Blood Sigil Stone, I'll search for the remnant of Atien's cursed scrolls. One way or another, we can't let the death curse spread to the soul altar. If we lose the altar's protection, the soul rift curse will tear through the tribes like a flood. The wind outside hauled like a blade through cloth. Under the brilliant moon, Alison and Holdren's shadows stretched across the empty wilds, dissolving into the night. The spirit wolf had vanished, but its whisper still echoed through the wind. Uvo descends. Dead do not rest. Chapter 5. The wind whispers of Red Blood Academy. At the break of dawn, the crimson morning light bathed the towers of Red Blood Academy in a bloody glow. Standing at the academy gates, Chansey leaned against the stone railing, watching as Alison and Holdren returned from the northern miles. His expression was grave, and the sigil on his chest trembled slightly, emanating a faint blood-red aura. Holdren, did you retrieve the blood sigil stone? Chansey asked calmly, though a thread of anxiety lingered beneath his voice. Holdren stepped forward, holding a silver wolf blade and a deep crimson gemstone. The very blood sigil stone had risked everything to find. His eyes were cold. I have it. The protective wards of Red Blood Academy have been activated. The death curse is suppressed for now, but listen closely. Someone etched blood curse runes into the wall outside the archives. The symbols read Luna and Wolf Frost. It's clear someone is trying to secretly revive both the Soul Rift and Death Curse. We may have a traitor inside. Chansey gave a small nod. I'll assign disciples and clerics to guard the archives around the clock. But for now, the blood seal stone must be joined with the Heartwheel seal and placed into the sanctuary hollow bone. Only then can the final segment of the rebirth spell be drawn forth. There's no time to argue over traitors. We must complete the spell first. Alison stepped forward, pulling from her cloak the blood moon skull fragment she'd found in the door the night before. After clearing the sun from its surface, faint markings of blood revealed the second, broken section of the forbidden incantation. She handed the scroll to Chansey. This is what the Yanzang wrote before her death. It's key to finishing the rebirth spell. But if we get even one line wrong, death curse won't dissipate. Worse, it'll root the soul rift curse deeper into the bloodline. Chansey tapped the scroll gently with his sigil staff, placing both the scroll and the blood sigil stone into the cauldron of radiant flame. A pillar of blood, red light burst skyward, staining the entire ceiling of the sanctum of light in a hella glow. From within that glow, the broken words on the scroll and stone pulse and reshape, revealing 4 ancient glyphs, blood moon in unison. It was as if Tianling's soul was guiding them through the scroll itself. But as the glyphs appeared, a chilling scream filled the air, like the cries of 1,000 lost souls. Alison felt a searing pain in her chest, but gritted her teeth and forced herself to stay upright. If that's what it means, then we have no choice. We must evolve soul altar immediately. The undead, the phrase blood moon in unison, soul rift and death curse will fully merge, and that darkness will spread from the Wolfbeak Mountains, devouring all 3 tribes. Chansey sealed the cauldron, locking the scroll and stone within a rune containment box. He then pressed the sigil marked mirror of the undead against his chest, fixing a protective rune into place. We have to reach Wolfbeak at full speed. Only by fusing the final part of the reverse spell with the Heartwheel shield can we unlock the mirror of insight, which will show us the true path forward. The undead are watching us and preying on every moment of doubt. Holdren drew his fang blade, its iron edge gleaming with cold light. I'll escort you both to the base of the mountain. The Wolfking sentries there have rigged the soul fang trap, enough to hold back the undead raids for a while. But past that line, you'll be on your own. Only your inner light and spellcraft can guide you through what's coming. Morning wind swept through Red Blood Academy, flickering through torchlight and chilling stone. The 3 of them moved forward without hesitation, their footsteps firm and united. Side by side they walked on, carving a silent oath into their hearts. No matter how fiercely the undead returned, the sick hearts of the 3 tribes must remain in sync. Chapter 6. Wolf Soul Thunder Array. The cave summoning as dusk settled. The 3 of them stepped into the Wolf Soul Thunder Array at base of the mountain. Thunder, spike-shaped like wolf fangs, pierced deep into snow. At the core of the array, sharp howls echoed through the air. Black, blue arcs of lightning exploded outward, shattering any passing phantom of the undead instant. Holdren raised his blade and moved ahead. Alison, Chansey, stay close. The undead are cunning. Don't fall for their tricks. Once we cross this array, we'll be near the heart of the Wolfbeak Mountains abyss. Alison drew a deep breath as the light of her Heartwheel seal briefly interwove with crackling thunder. With a quick turn of her wrist, the seal burst into a silver, white barrier, shielding them from the lightning bursts and flying debris. She saw several undead apparitions crushed to ash by falling thunderstone, then vanish into the snow like vapor. The array was powerful, but not foolproof. If she didn't move quickly, and the phantoms swarmed her, there would be no chance of survival. Chansey stepped lightly over the burning runes of crimson sigils, blood flaring beneath his feet like living flame. He took the rune of the mirror of the undead on his chest, making it harder for the undead to hide in the shadows. He noticed several runes and he rewrote it, tainted by the death curse, on the verge of failure. If we don't patch these glyphs fast, he said, raising his staff, the curse will break through. Once we reach the outer mountain gate, I'll draw the bloodlight, recast array to seal the corrosion. Holdren led from the front, blade flashing, carving through undead phantoms while staying alert. This array's been here for over a century. It etched into the Wolf Clan's blood memory. Even when dead or repelled, they always come back, searching for weak spots. He crushed the worn, out blue wolf rune stone beneath his boot and replaced it with a red blood sigil shard from the academy. Instantly, the small center of the array surged with power, and lightning flared skyward, forcing the undead to retreat. The 3 advanced with full concentration. As they neared the mountain gate, it emerged from the darkness. Twin wolf, head stone pillars standing tall, wrapped in with their vines and blooming blood-red flowers. On the lintel above, ancient Wolf Clan script was carved. By moonlight we shield, by blood we seal. Undead shall not pass. The soul rift shall not rise again. Alice took the deep breath and stepped forward, pulling her wolf red cloak tight over her chest. Her heart thundered like chains pulled taut. These words, they're the oath forged by our ancestors, wolves and blood in life. They forged the sacred heart with moonlight and blood to seal away the power of the undead. If I can't follow that path tonight, the curse will slip through every crack. Behind her, Holdren stood ready, lifting the sigil case entrusted to them by the academy. Chansey stood beside them, both hands holding the blood moon scroll and blood jewel stone, the incantation already forming on his lips. Are you ready? Holdren asked quietly. Alison nodded firmly. Whether it leads to life or death, we must seal the undead and the soul rift for good. Shindy began to chant. Light of blood moon, in chorus with the wolf soul, let blood lock the curse. Never again shall the undead return. Together, they placed the blood moon scroll into the wolf. Eyes slot at the center of the stone gate, pressing the blood sigil stone at the pit. Beneath them, heartwheel shield and wolf soul wing sigils activated in unison. The gate lit with hunting hues of red, blue, and gray, and with a thunderous groan, it opened, revealing a winding passageway that spiraled up toward the mountain's peak. A first wind screamed through the gap like the halls of countless spirits. Along the narrow path, flickering wolf-like shadows appeared to vanish, as if guiding or wedging. Alison clutched the prophecy letter tighter and stepped cautiously forward. This path is the final stretch to the wolf soul altar. My father's prophecy, Jiandang's last wish, it will either be fulfilled or destroyed up there. They entered the corridor, steep and narrow, with a sheer drop into a bottomless abyss on either side. Ancient carvings of blood moons and wolf kings lined the walls. Their inscriptions faded by time, whispering silent stories of the past. A grand battle of blood and wolves once raged here, sealing away the undead in the rift. But now, with the gate open, even the ancient seals felt dangerous, unstable. The cold wind cut deeper than before. At corridor's far end, swirls of silver, blue, light, and blood, red shadows and twisted in silence. Holdren raised his fanged blade, his voice like a growl. Undead, are you hiding? Come now. Face the judgment of a wolf's blade and a heart's light. Alison and Dundee followed behind, step by step, toward the summit. But unease coiled in their hearts. Though they had reached the altar, the true battle was only beginning. Beyond the fractures of a once healing peace were starting to rip open once more. Chapter 7. The Sacred and Sinister at the Wolf Soul Altar. The Wolf Soul Altar rose high atop the mountain peak. A blood rain hung low in the sky, while fierce winds carried damp and ash in all directions. Around the altar stood 7 stone pillars, each crowned with a snarling wolf head, devouring serpentine shadows, tangled with blood. At the center lay a sacrificial platform made of wolf bone, inlaid with grey-blue runes. Hovering above it was a shattered, blood-colored crystal, a shard of the soul rift heart, said to contain the power of the undead and capable of breaching the wolf soul warding seal. The 3 stood at the altar's base, blades and moonlight flickering across the ancient stone. Spectral undead surged below, writhing as though ready to scale the stone railings. Holdren called out sharply, "The venom are gathering. They're pulling on the seal array. We have to combine the heart wheel, the burst bell, and the blood sigil shield. If we don't extinguish the undead flame now, this altar will turn into the next gate to hell." Alison gazed up at the wolf bone altar, casting the light of her heart wheel across it. The broken blood crystal won't heal unless it absorbs the residual echo of the rebirth spell. The wolf soul shield must be summoned from all directions at once. It's the only way to activate it. She began to chant softly, invoking both the rebirth incantation and the wolf soul hymn. Silver light intertwined with the deep wolf blue glow, transforming into a rain of radiant sparks that drifted down upon the stone pillars. The carved wolf heads atop each pillar suddenly opened their mouths, releasing a surge of ghostly gray, blue light that blasted the undead phantoms back. As he raised the blood sigil stone above his head, crimson light burst forth, entangling with a rain of silver and blue. As he chanted in a voice like a sigh, the blood surged like a high wave, sealing the cracks beneath the pillars. The undead wailed in pain. Holdren gripped both blades tightly, then unleashed frost-active slash. A chilling wave of grey, blue energy cut through the remaining phantoms, shredding into nothingness. At the center of the altar, the broken blood crystal began to spin slowly under the woven light, fractured closed, sealing into a single complete blood red heart. In that instant, a violent storm erupted. The blood moon poured its eerie light downward as the altar's surrounding runes shattered in dust, spat into the storm winds. From the crystal core, a beam of searing light shot upward into the sky. Alison's heart trembled. She hadn't expected such overwhelming power from the altar. Within the beam, a twisted figure began to take shape. Tianzang's soul, her face was pale, not with rage, but with deep, enduring sorrow. Floating above the altar, she held now, whole soul rift heart in her hand, and whispered, "By the unity of souls, by the rebirth of the blood moon, Tianzang's soul may now rest." Then she raised the crystal above her head, and gently lowered it into the heart of the burning light. Her blood and silver blue merged. The light dissipated in an instant. The blood crystal crumbled into ash and scattered on the wind. The storm ceased. Silence fell. The altar and its stone pillar shone faintly under the blood moon, washed in pale grey light. Tianzang's soul vanished too, dissolving into countless glimmering motes, falling around them like stardust. Holdren lowered his blades, breathing hard. The tad crystal resonated with the wolf's soul, and gave Tianzang peace in her final moment. But why did she hide so deep within the altar? Was it redemption for the undead, or prayer to the blood moon itself? Alison looked pale, but kept her eyes on the altar. Maybe her wish wasn't to lay the dead to rest. Maybe she wanted the 3 clans to find a new balance, new trust, within chaos of the soul rift and the undead. Her goal wasn't just attachment, it was hope. And if we fail the altar's trial today, we'd never stop the undead resurgence at its root. She gently lowered the blood sigil stone and sighed. The soul rift heart is ash. Its power is gone. The source of the undead curse still lingers in the void field. If we don't continue to guard against it, this altar will be nothing more than a temporary barrier. Doomed to fall, we must embed the heart-wheel shield in the granite altar at the sanctum of spirits, and let it resonate with the sacred hearts of all 3 clans. Only then can we erase the last traces of the undead curse for good. Chapter 8. Hunter's Eye. The forgotten clue. Just as the 3 descended from the wolf soul altar and began their journey home, a thin morning mist spread with the valley. Amid the haze, a golden figure appeared, hidden behind a shadowed rock, touching a worn parchment map. The map marked 3 giant stone formations: the wolf soul altar, the scarlet moon blood hall, and further still, the rift abyss. Reflected in his eyes were the determined faces of Alison, Holdren, and Tendi as they moved. He slowly raised his longbow and fired an arrow into the sky. The arrow tip sliced through the dawn light, landing at Alison's feet. Holdren reacted instantly, dodging and drawing his blade to block a follow-up. But before the winds was faded, the golden figure vanished like drifting sand along the distant cliff. The 3 released their held breaths and picked up the arrow. Etched along the blade was a line of tiny roots. Eye of the void, never extinguished. Eye of void. Alison's heart glowed. This means someone is using the aftershocks of the void rift to watch us. He didn't just send an arrow. He's spying on the altar's outbound. Every step wigs under his gaze. Teddy clutched part of the map, frowning deeply. This arrow and those runes, they're not the undead's doing. They're Hunter's signal. He's trying to lead us to the rift to aid us. Maybe the truth behind the undead curse is still hidden there. We have to follow his trail. or we'll be led straight into the abyss of death. Holdred tossed the arrow to the ground. This is someone watching us. The eye of the void is no longer hidden. We must change course and head to the rift abyss. That's the gateway to the deepest parts of the void codex, and the final battleground between dank and tiny. We don't uncover the truth there. The roots of the undead and soul with curses will never be severed. The three clans will remain trapped in darkness forever. Helen's eyes hardened as she stepped forward. My father's runes, in a chance my soul, the eye of the void all point to one place. We've already walked halfway down the path of death. Only the final stretch remains. If there's no turning back, then I'll offer my heart's light and faith to win on for the three clans. Chapter 9. Rift Abyss. On the edge of despair and hope, if the rift abyss lay hidden at the northernmost edge of Wolf Peak Mountains. The terrain was steep, with cliff faces weathered into countless cracks that looked like giant open jaws, ready to swallow any hole. Chimney pointed at the worn parchment map. This black stone hollow is where the Wolf clan ancestors built the soul-severing stakes with their blood and bones. If you call into the abyss, the gate to the undead opens. If those souls aren't to rest properly, they'll become eternal dead spirits that will drown the world. It was falling, and howling like it could devour all living things. Alison, Lucas, and Chancey leaned on each other as they explored domes and atoms. Their steps were heavy but never faltered. In the wind, the echo of the undead curse surged like a tidal wave, threatening to break their spirits. Holdred raised his bow on his shoulder, slamming the wolf-toothed dagger like a claw against the rock face to carve out a narrow path.